What time is it?
Tonight, the revolution begins. I'm expecting a fight, hoping for a war. We are the Bullet Club. I am the greatest living professional wrestler alive. One by one, they will all follow me. Bada boom, realest guys in a room. How you know? Feed me more.
And at Elimination Chamber, I am the law. This is all just stupid fun crap. This is the bed the authority has made for themselves. Trying to keep everybody down and make everybody jump through hoops. And things get ridiculous like this. But now it's set in stone, contract is signed, and all you need to know, two of the best wrestlers on planet Earth are going to go at it toe-to-toe at Elimination Chamber for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But I am ready for war.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Deezer.
I said, whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get sad again.
Oh, get. It's not good. Oh, what? Damn technical difficulties. This is Wrestle to the Max episode 145. And man, I just feel like I'm watching Rush Hour all over again. What are we doing today, Gary?
Oh, yes, Rush Hour. What a fun movie. But, you know, I had to play that song because of the fact that Dean Ambrose did mention war. So it works together. See, you know, two things go. Anyway, we are going to be talking about some big news topics of the week. Of course, we are going to have some big TNA discussions. A lot of the things that happened this past week and social media things with TNA. We'll be discussing all that. Plus, some NXT stars have already lost their t-shirts. I know it's crazy, weird, but here's some interesting stories. Plus, a lot more discussion we have to get into with these big news topics over the past week. And we're going to also talk about Monday Night Raw that is going to get us ready for that big Elimination Chamber. So we'll be previewing that. We can't wait to, you know, kind of discuss each match and what we think is going to happen in Elimination Chamber. We're all excited about seeing what's going to happen there. We'll be getting into that. Plus, we'll be talking some Lucha Underground and ROH. This week, of course, guys, we know we always cover NXT. We did that. We've already done a big special for you. We did a TakeOver Unstoppable special for you last week. So if you didn't get a chance to hear us talk NXT, go back, look in the archive. It's right there and ready for you, and it's a great show, so go check that out. Plus, there was no TNA Impact. It was a rerun of Slammiversary and all that good stuff. So, no TNA show for us to review this week. But we do have something special that we are going to cover on this show, and that is New Japan, Best of the Super Juniors. That's right. We are going to be talking about that, getting in depth. Sean is going to lead us on that path. He's also been writing a lot of New Japan stuff. So that's going to be a really cool discussion we'll be having there. And, of course, we're going to crown a Superstar of the Week. So we've got a lot of great stuff for you guys this week, and I'm excited about jumping into all of it. But before we get into all of it, though, guys, let's go ahead and stop and take a second here and just kind of see how things are going with each other. I know, Paul, I heard that you went and saw a movie recently. I've been looking forward to going and seeing a few movies, but what did you go see?
It's Pitch Perfect 2 this week, which was quite good, but not as good as the first one.
Ah, okay. So
what I want to know is how's Lana?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing.
You don't really get a clear shot of her. You kind of have to look for it, because they have the scene at the end where they have like all the legacy bellas up there, and she gets like her bun, like her tight hair bun, is like a whole 5 seconds on screen, and then they cut away.
Such atrocity that.
Did they get your hopes up, Sean? Then they just take it all away. No.
Happens with so many things in life. No,
yeah, it's very true, honestly. Sadly, but true. I've been wanting to get to the theater. There's a couple movies I've been actually wanting to go see, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to. I'm hoping to. One of those is Poltergeist. I just got to go see it. Poltergeist is, my horror collection. I've got to go see it.
I've already got my Inside Out pre-order. That I'm just like dying to see that. That looks so good.
Oh, I bet. That does look interesting. Plus, also, I know it sounds stupid, but I do want to see San Andreas not because of The Rock, because of the fact that I think on the big screen.
You want to see The Rock.
Yeah,
on the big screen.
yeah. I haven't even seen Fast 7, Fast 6. Anyway.
That's why my mom wants to see it. She
really?
immediately saw The Rock and she was like, I want to see this movie. I was like, God, Mom, stop holding on to things from like the 2000s.
I just want to see buildings fall down and destruction and all that on the big screen. I want to see it on the, my TV's great at home. I want to see it on the big screen, so.
I can understand that.
Yeah, we'll see if I get around to it. But Sean, how about yourself, man? What have you been up to?
Oh, man, just work and writing about New Japan, talking about New Japan, and trying to find other things to do in between those things because they keep taking up time. It's hard because like the first one that you write has to have all this information that you don't have to have on the other ones. Mm-hmm. So it's what took me forever. And then, after that it's not that big a deal, but it's just when you tie all those things together and having, your kid that decides one day she wants to be good, the next day, when you really need her to be good, she wants to be bad. So, never when you need them to, work with you, it just doesn't work,
Nope. That's not, yeah, exactly. It's just the way it works with kids. They decide what happens. You don't get a chance to figure it out. You just have to wait till they're moved.
No, I want this now. Oh, well, damn it.
I know. So, we're going to get into the show, but before we do have someone on the line, and I would like to welcome you onto the show. What's going on?
Mr. Chris Limshy, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, not too much. Just having a break from working on set right now, so just kind of figured I'd give you guys a call and talk about the TNA saga that is
So, are you
TNA.
allowed to talk about what set you're on?
Let's just say it's on the El Rey network.
All right. I like that.
So that's something in common I have with Lucha Underground. So there we go.
Yeah. So we'll let Chris tell us later when he has more of an opportunity. But you know what, Sean, since he's here to talk some TNA, why don't we go ahead and play that music we may not be hearing in the near future? Let's go ahead and listen to that real quick.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Good, so Sean, let's start with
TNA Impact Wrestling.
I did.
Good. I didn't know you were playing both, so there you go. Okay, well, let's jump into this, Chris, and I know you're kind of wanting to get into this, and I think all of us here, we discussed this a little bit on the NXT special we did last week, but I think for anybody who missed it, we're going to get back into it a little bit here. Destination America has decided not to renew TNA Impact Wrestling. Don't say.
I'm glad you used that choice of words, Gary, or else they would try to sue you for saying that they were, the C word.
Yeah, this is the C word we cannot use because I don't have the money to pay TNA. Let's just be honest here. So, yes, they were not renewed. There's been a lot of controversy. What were your thoughts, Chris, when you heard this news? And kind of give me some of your thought process on this whole thing.
I mean, I wasn't really surprised. Like, when they were canceled by Spike TV and picked up by Destination America, I just consider this move always a life support move, and then with all the stuff that the network's been pushing on them to not do any more UK tours, to make Angle the champion. I mean, they've only been on the network for about, 5 months, and the network's already starting to have influence on them. That really wasn't a good sign.
The network could have had influence on them from day one, and we have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's interesting because it seems like Destination America had already been involved so much with TNA. Hey, Kurt Angle, as soon as they got on that network, that he's got to be champion. They've got to do this and do that. And all of a sudden now they're just so fast jumping off the ship and saying, you know what, we're not so interested anymore. Very interesting to me that they're that way.
I'm surprised that they picked them up in the first place. I mean, like I say, it was a life support move in my opinion. This is just, I didn't see them staying on that channel for as long as their contract was, which I believe was 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't see them sticking to 2 years on that contract.
Yeah, the sad thing is we didn't even expect Destination America, but there's really no other networks out there that would be willing to support TNA. I can't think of any. I mean, the only reason Destination America can do it is
especially
because
with GFW around trying to get TV too, and they've already apparently talked to Fox Sports too.
Yeah.
And even when you go back to, remember when the WWE was shopping around trying to get off USA, they were looking for other deals and no other network was interested in them. If you're not interested in the biggest wrestling company in the world, then why would anybody take interest in TNA?
Mm-hmm. Very true, and you're right. I wonder what you also think about this, and kind of give me your honest opinion, because we've seen a few tweets come out. I believe it was Bob Ryan or whatever the heck that guy's name is.
I think Bob Ryder.
Bob Ryder, yeah, Ryder. I don't even the nobody. He
the
made
guy that worked for WCW when it was dying, and then said that they weren't dying.
Yeah,
that guy.
He basically
history repeats itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Very much the truth. He's repeating himself here. Oh, what are you guys talking about? This is never going to happen. Blah blah blah. And then of course we have Josh Matthews coming out and saying, after the NXT special, oh, so Samoa Joe was never known. He until here. How do the NXT announcers know who he is if he didn't matter in TNA? I'm not quoting him. That's loosely pretty much what he said. If TNA is not in the world of WB, how do they forget about ROH? I guess maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. The announcer could have just read his shirt. That's fine.
That's true. The Matthews tweet is just dumb in general because Joe's name has been mentioned on WWE TV before. They mentioned ROH. They mentioned Joe in the Punk DVD. Samoa Joe has appeared on WWE TV before back in 2001. So in continuity, it works out. And to be fair, no offense to TNA when I'm saying this, but they never made Joe a star. People know who Samoa Joe is from everywhere else. I mean, sure, TNA he worked for TNA and they gave him an actual platform, but he made his name in ROH, so everyone knows him from there.
That feud with Kurt Angle though was pretty big for him. That was their highest buy rate ever, and all that.
In 2006.
Yeah, but
Almost
wasn't
10 years
ROH
ago.
Before that? I mean, I'm not saying that TNA is the only thing that's ever made Joe. You're right. I think that he has a point in that, but I think that he also forgets that, Joe's been around. It's not like he was only ever in TNA and, there aren't fans of his from other places,
Yeah. We're not talking about the fact that Joe in West Connecticut wrestling or Joe in some, bingo hall.
If this was AJ Styles and he came out as AJ Styles, I would give Josh Matthews more credit to that because I would consider AJ a TNA guy, even though he's not in TNA anymore.
I don't know about
he was
that.
a TNA made star.
I'm a New Japan guy right now. Let's be fine.
Well, but to be fair though, AJ made most of his career in TNA. I wouldn't say that Josh would be right with it if it was AJ, but I would lead more credence to that than I would with Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Paul, you're being eerily quiet on this. What do you think?
I was just letting Chris go because I don't know how much time he has. But for TNA, I was with Chris. Whenever they got written off Spike, it's a slow death now because they went to Destination America as a stopgap. I see I don't see this ending happily for him, especially with this big email controversy that's been coming out where Dixie Carter apparently accidentally, quote-unquote, CC'd one of the Destination America corporate guys, and that's what led to all this. And the fact that they aren't being straight with anybody in the company is another bad sign. This isn't ending well for anybody at all.
Okay, so you brought up a great point, Paul, and a couple of them I want to touch on. One of them, let's go ahead and talk about the talent first. So Christy Hemme is leaving, which she's not technically on the talent, but she's creative and she also does the announcing. She said that she's definitely quitting from creative, but she may appear on announcing if she has it available. We'll see how that works. But apparently she's ready to jump ship. Do we see any way that some of these other guys are going to try to find ways off the roster?
They should, if they're smart, get off the ship. Just jump the Titanic and save yourselves.
But did you notice
Aries' contract apparently ends at the end of June?
Yeah.
But did you notice the rest of these guys, though, just signed deals? Just not, a month ago? Bobby Lashley signed a deal. Bobby Roode signed a deal. Several people signed. I think even Rockstar Spud signed a deal. So this is a big problem. I mean, these guys are going to get their contracts bought out or something. But it's sad. These guys are going to go down with the ship.
You know, the sad thing is, too, that I don't see... If this is what sucks about TNA going down, if it really does... I would hate for all these guys to not have a job, not have places to work.
Yeah.
Like, I can maybe see, like, Triple H bringing, like, Austin Aries to work, like, NXT to make up for when, like, Balor and Tommy and Owens make the full roster debut. That way you can kind of supplement Aries and maybe use, like, Bobby Roode in there. But, like, a lot of these guys, I'm just, like, worried about where would they end up, and maybe GFW could be successful and they can end up there, but that's like a big, like, what if, like, we don't know how successful GFW is going to be, so.
Do you think Kurt Angle at all would help give GFW some more notoriety?
If I was Kurt Angle and I would try again with WWE, and this time they should take him back. They don't have to put him as a wrestler, but they can use him in other capacities, like maybe even do some one-shot NXT stuff, or, you know, work if Tough Enough continues on and on, be a trainer for Tough Enough in a future season.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that. Well, I think he'll probably do better on the Diva search, but you know, the train wreck that's going to be.
Just don't make Angle their social media like ambassador, because that's like
it'll just get hacked all the time.
Hey, you know, when Jericho got hacked, I bet Angle was like tweeting, "See, it could happen to anybody."
Oh yeah.
But do you see, like, the sad thing is too with TNA, like, I could see Dixie just to spite everyone, like, go put them on Hulu or something, and then they have to sit there and have contracts for TNA with their show being on Hulu, where they could go work where, you know, let's say GFW has a TV deal by then, they could go work on a bigger platform and they can't because they're tied to TNA until TNA officially goes down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that, man, I just imagine that'd be a hard sell for me, at least, if I'm Hulu or if I'm Netflix.
Hulu was going to do it, but they weren't going to give TNA any big money, so it was basically like, you know, the Carters would have to fund a lot of stuff.
Could you imagine this? Backyard wrestling at the Carter's house. TNA Impact Wrestling. You see Bob Carter mowing his lawn. Get off that, Aries. Oh, my God.
You know, Dixie should let the talent know what's up. That's one of the most frustrating things is, like, I can't imagine working for that company and not knowing if I'm going to have a job within a month or two. Like, maybe, hey, that's why probably Josh Matthews went crazy on Twitter. I mean, they're off TV. No matter what, if they survive anywhere else, they're off TV. He's out of work. So
the only thing I will say is that you're right, Chris, but in any other sort of situation, until you have dead right confirmation that they're not going to change their mind in a month, you can't say anything because you're lowering their morale. You're going to have them half-ass TV tapings and all this kind of stuff. And it's like us, you know, there's rumors constantly about if we don't make a certain amount of money. Now, I'm not saying us, but Kmart. There's been this rumor going around for I don't know how long that they're going to shut down the store. Well, they're not going to come and tell us anything about They can have like 20 suits come in, but they're not going to come tell us anything about the store shutting down until they know, okay, you guys have 6 months to find jobs because it's getting shut down. For sure. Like, and then there's places that shut down and don't say a freaking word. That's stupid, but they do it. I remember Bennigan's shut down and didn't tell nobody. Like, I'm just saying, it's apples to oranges, sort of, but then do you want to tell talent early and then Destination America goes next week and goes, oh, the ratings were good on Wednesday. Y'all are good, just...
I think it's more about wanting to keep a reputation about being honest with your talent, because as far as we've all read, TNA is still going to be looking to try to find another TV deal after this. So if you're trying to have a great reputation and being open and honest and trying to find a way onto another station, doing what Dixie doing is not what I would be doing. Tell
You're
somebody,
losing respect with your workers too.
Yeah, tell somebody that, hey, this is what's happening, and we need to start getting on this right away if we're going to have a business next year to even talk about, or at the end of this year. You have
to wonder if Destination America is even going to let them do it, though. They may not be like Spike and go, oh, you guys can go shop if you want to. They might be assholes and tell them, no, you can't do anything.
You know what? I just can't believe Dixie Carter isn't using one of the best assets at her disposal to make this better. She is she's from Dallas, no secret. And a huge Cowboys fan. And I'm sure with her money and her family's money, I'm sure they can get in good with the Joneses. Jerry Jones has been known to make small businesses bigger. It's just a known fact. In fact, the stadium has marble floor that is colored in the colors of the Dallas Cowboys. The company that did the floor did not have that color, so he bought the company, made the color, then sold it for a profit. So she needs to take that into consideration. These things are into play. So, Jerry, there you go. A new business proposition for you guy. But anyway, I just think of this fact. And Paul's point is great because of this. It is all about reputation. That's what Dixie cares about. She's pissed because of the ratings, the way that Destination America was telling the ratings. She wanted them all to be together, not one show. She wanted all 15 times they were aired together, which is kind of unfair. So, long story short, that's why this whole suing thing is coming into play. I'm going to sue anybody who uses the word canceled. And Meltzer, you're on my hard track.
I'm sorry. Where are you going to sue anyone? You can't even pay your talent. So
yeah, that's what I was wondering when I saw. Like, how can you afford lawyers to do this? Gee,
Bischoff is suing you right now. Like, how are you going to fight that? Let alone fight people just saying the word canceled. You know what? I said cancel. You're gonna come sue this podcast because I want to see you do it. Like, come on.
Sean, you might get a FedEx at your door the next day.
Yeah, right.
Remember that Sean Garmer who said that.
Come send me a cease and desist. I'll send it right back to you.
Take a picture of it too, just with a big thumbs up. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Dixie will start trying to trademark the word canceled, so you have to pay her every time you say it. Like, just... what's so funny about this is, like, all Meltzer... as much as we rag on Meltzer, he's actually done a pretty damn good job of, like, reporting this like an actual journalist. All he's ever tried to do is get confirmation from somebody, tell me one way or the other, and frickin' Billy Corgan wouldn't even say anything. Like... You guys keep alluding to yes, but you don't say yes. You don't say no either. So, what is it? Is it a, maybe we'll wait till September, and if we're not airing, that's how you know? Like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, what is the official word supposed to come down? Do they not have to announce it till September? I thought...
I guess they don't, but Destination America should say something. Like... Why are you not coming out and saying, no, they're not canceled, like Spike did? It was a lie, but, I mean, at least you're saying something,
Well, they're about to run to, like, they do their fall schedule, so we should know pretty soon what happens with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And I don't know. I mean, this whole thing, it's all speculation. You never know. We don't know what's in the works. There could be a situation where, like Sean said, Hulu could be an option. Maybe some other TV network that we can't think of right now needs something.
America, I guess, shows back up.
True. Anything.
So they compare TNA with that Wrestling with Death show.
I'm sure if there was a PAX TV, they'd probably put it on that if it was ever around.
Yeah, it'll be on that station that airs ROH in Texas.
I wouldn't have a problem. That pretty low quality stuff on that station already. So, and I mean, honestly, and most of the time, before ROH is a catheter commercial. So, it's a perfect spot for TNA, I think.
They're just bleeding out slowly.
Yeah.
yeah. That's pretty much how. If they do get picked up by another network, it's just delaying the inevitable. Like, it's slowly dying.
Well, I mean, I bet WCW wishes they could have just gotten on another network. To be fair,
it is really weird to think that TNA has lasted longer than WCW and ECW, but those two companies have more of a legacy than TNA ever will.
Yeah. It's true, because people, I mean, they don't chant WCW, but they do chant ECW still heavily to this day. But I just don't imagine TNA's name is going to come about in 10 years. I just don't imagine it. It's going to be hard-pressed for me to think. I mean, heck, I'm assuming if we were still doing this in 10 years, I would be thinking about TNA ever. That'd be a distant memory.
Yeah. It'll be like the TNA diehards that... They just will never forget TNA and just remind you until you're dead that TNA existed, probably.
So what would you guys call the DVD that would come out? You wouldn't really call it the Rise and Fall of TNA because they never really rose, but do you just call it the existence of TNA?
That is a good question. What would you call it?
Start and Stop, the TNA story.
With a little subtitle, Welcome to Dixieland.
Yeah.
Yes.
How Not to Run a Company.
By Dixie Carter.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I really, want to see what direction this is all going. I do feel bad. And once again, it sounds like we're picking on TNA. I'm not picking on TNA. Just stating the fact of what's going on right now. And we've all said this plenty of times. We want TNA to do well because it's good for wrestling. I mean, Paul and Sean, even Chris, has all said that because we all want we want every company to work good. Because Lucha Underground, we were all excited about them, because they're supposedly getting a second season. Univision's announced that. We're stoked about that. We love Lucha Underground here, and we wish the same was happening for TNA. It's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah, before I go, I want to do him into this. I'm sure even Vince McMahon, he will never admit it, I'm sure he doesn't even want TNA to go under. Because more competition is best for the business.
Mm-hmm. You're right, Chris. It is best for business. It's best for everybody. And the talent and anybody who's working in the business in general, it's good for them. So I know what you mean. Any final things you want to say before I know you got to head off?
No, I pretty much just said everything you want to say about TNA. If for some way somebody comes in at the last minute, like the 11th hour, like a Deus Ex Machina, and saves TNA, then they need to change everything. Just do a hard reboot and fix what's wrong. Get rid of, start over.
Should they even?
Because I think this would be the last chance if they get picked up.
Should they change their name completely?
At this point, why not? The TNA name is just so... It just says so much bad attached to it. Like, at this point, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, very true. I mean...
Do you want to say anything about Elimination Chamber before you...
the Chamber, I'm looking forward to it. I was considering going... because it's in Corpus, Yeah, but unfortunately, I have to work the next day, so it'd be a hell of a drive to drive all the way there, then drive right back. So.
Yeah, it would be. Do you have any predictions offhand before you go?
I'm assuming Sheamus is the new IC champion. I would New Day to retain. I'm hoping Paige wins the. Oh no, actually no, Naomi should win the Divas title. And with Owens and Cena, it could really go either way. I hate to say it, but Cena should win since Owens is still. I mean, it's not like he's going to be like a main roster stay. I mean, if he was, then yeah, sure, Owens wins. But since he's probably just going to wrestle the match with Cena and then stay on NXT for a while, then he has no business winning this match.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough.
But I'm sure Cena's they're gonna go 20 minutes. He's gonna make him look like a star, and that's in the long run. That's what's really gonna matter.
Yeah, that's what really needs to happen for sure. I hope that's what does happen. Oh, it's your main event there. What do you think, Rollins Ambrose?
I'm gonna say Reigns turns heel on Ambrose.
Ooh, okay, heel turn. I like that.
Huh.
I really wouldn't put that into play. That's a good choice. Okay, well, fair enough. Well, we're going to be doing our predictions pretty soon here after we talk about Monday Night Raw. But, Chris, do you have anything else you want to plug or anything else you want to get in before you have to head off?
I got nothing to plug, but just keep watching the El Rey Network.
For sure. We look for Chris Limsky near you on the El Rey Network.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you calling in, man. We love it. And he is the official fourth co-host on this show, Chris Limsky, guys. All right. Well, we got some other big news topics we're going to jump into today, guys. And, of course, I just mentioned Lucha Underground and, the fact that Univision has announced them for their fall schedule. So that is great. I think this is something that we're all excited about. I mean, I know we were all a little worried, but does this kind of leave you feeling a lot better now knowing that they're going to run from October to the next July?
It makes me feel better more because I know the break won't be as long as I was originally thinking it was going to be. It sounds like it's only going to be about a month, so that's good news.
I think, yeah. It would probably wind up being like 2 months, but still, it's not that bad. I think I'm just happy that we're getting this for a second season. I hope this means Univision is going to have it and not Unimas. Not that, I mean, they're both owned by the same company, so it doesn't matter, whatever. But Univision is clearly seen by a hell of a lot more people. And it would be awesome, just to get more people watching it, even though it's in Spanish. And, hopefully that means that they can eventually transition it, over there and get a bigger audience for it, because they deserve to have a huge audience. They deserve to have a lot more eyes on this product, because you already have, similar to what the problem with Destination America is, I was looking to go down in price with my tier, and when I was going through Comcast, if I don't have the one right before you get all the movie channels, I can't watch El Rey Network either. So it's just like, I could probably watch it on demand, but then, it's just like, I kind of want to be able to support them and record it and watch it later to help their ratings a little bit, and it just kind of sucks. I wish they had better ways to have more people watch it,
Mm-hmm. For sure, I totally agree, and I've heard plenty of people say don't use YouTube because YouTube doesn't help them. In fact, they really just need to come out with a way, their own YouTube channel or something. That way, people know where to go if they're going to use it. Because honestly, a lot of times I've used YouTube when I was able to get out of the places, and I know YouTube is maybe very hard because of the fact that people just copy it and just use it everywhere else, and they try to get the hits. So it's going to take away from some. But I think that El Rey Network needs to think about this and use Lucha Underground in every capacity, because those eyes on their product will definitely help. They need to get it as, in your face. I think a lot of casual fans would really like the show if they got the chance to watch it. We praise them all the time. We try to get the word out, but we can only do so much. I just hope that El Rey Network does their job and gets it out there.
Yeah, I just don't want them to have to move networks, because once they do that, it's gonna ruin the show.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. The guys that work on the show are the perfect people to work on it. Without those people, I'm not sure any of us would really be happy about that. Well, talking about Lucha, let's go ahead and jump into Lucha Cup real quick, guys. Just to let everybody know, we talked about the fact that AAA, they were going to do that huge Lucha Cup. We were looking forward to seeing who was going to win. Actually, the team that won was Team XWWE. And by that, I mean, you got El Patron. You've got, I believe he's called Mystico now, but the original Sin Cara. What's his name now?
Mr. Z's.
Mr. Z's. Okay, there you go. Mr. Z's. And then, of course, you have the other guy that was no longer in WWE, and that was, I'm already blanking on it, Sean. I just had it.
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio. It's hard for me to remember Rey Mysterio still doing this thing after the whole sad...
WWE. Or, WCW,
I know.
Gary. Like, how do you forget?
Well, after the whole sad thing that happened, I just haven't heard his name, honestly.
Yeah.
So this is the one positive thing. I'm glad that Rey Mysterio was able to win and be a part of that. So, good things for him. But let's go ahead and talk about some other stuff going on and some promotions that are, in the realm. ROH has got some toys coming out, some classic toys, if you want to be that way, some action figures that are going to be, with the Briscoes will be two the action figures. You're also going to have Kevin Steen, which is a throwback. You're going to have Adam Cole. So these are some cool little action figures that people are going to get a chance to buy and, of course, collect. I know a guy I work with. He collects all wrestling action figures, pretty much sticking to WWE, of course, but he has a lot of old ones. But I think this is a great idea for ROH. Kind of get their name out there. If they can get into as many toy stores as they can get into, it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a neat idea. It's a great way to grow your brand and show if you can get places to carry them. Obviously, show off your company. So. And not to mention, it's a nice little way to make some extra pocket cash. So,
yeah, those wrestlers in ROH need all the money they can get.
Definitely. It makes you wonder how much they really do get. I remember Jericho made the joke of, "Oh, cool, you bought my shirt? Cool, I get 4 cents." Well,
one of them's not even in the company anymore, so I guess he just gets extra cash off of that or whatever.
Yeah, you're probably right. So, but that that is at least a good thing. I think it's a very positive thing, at least when notoriety wise, to get your name out there. I think it's a very, very interesting thing. Talking about merchandise, NXT has a couple T-shirts heading off the market, and that is because these two NXT talents had some controversial things going on. One of those has to be Becky Lynch, and surprisingly enough, her shirt is discontinued because the phrase that was on the shirt, and that was "Lasso Kicker." Last Kicker. Last Kicker. And it was kind of controversial. They had some complaints about it, which I don't get the big deal here. But anyway, there was complaints, and so they're changing the shirt, I'm assuming, and they're going to make something else. Yes.
No. What like really conservative freaking mom went and said, "Oh, this is too much like ass." Like, come on, man, really? Like, ass is said everywhere. Do we really have to redo a shirt because it's a pun, sort of? Like, we can't just have fun anymore. We can't have nice things.
Yeah, exactly. And Paul, I mean, I think what really is happening here is that it's not so many women buying these shirts. I think it's NFL players buying these shirts.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
Man,
just saying.
You took that to another level.
So that could be an issue. Could be a very big issue. But here's another thing.
I'm sure that's a big issue, Gary. We don't need to get into that.
We'll do that on our Football to Football show. So if you want more domestic dispute and violence, hey, go check out that show. But let's talk about Hideo Itami. Let's talk about the fact that he does have a shirt out that has some Chinese writing out on it. If you saw the shirt or you own it, you know it's got some cool, Japanese writing. But the only problem is the writing on it was wrong. It had some misspelling in Japanese, and so they're discontinuing that shirt until they come out with a new one. So
you would have thought that they could have just asked just some of the NXT talent they already have there to make sure it was spelled right.
Yeah, you would think so, right? But I guess the guys who make the shirts are very lazy, apparently. Boy. I know. So anyway, well, that's some interesting news when it comes to T-shirts and stuff. I know that this is kind of funny with a professional company, especially WWE Shop, that has a lot of products that they can't get a couple of those right. But we'll see what happens in the future. Let's talk about Hulk Hogan. Now, apparently, he is going to be starring in a big motion picture pretty soon. He's done it in the past. He's going to be back on your big screen again. I know lots of people are looking forward to this because you can't get enough Hogan, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too sarcastic here. But Expendables 4 is the next movie project he'll be a part of, and he's going to be a villain in this movie. What are your thoughts about this? Can we take this movie serious with Hulk Hogan as the villain?
Maybe not Hulk Hogan today, but certainly if this was maybe like 20 years ago, I think I'd be okay with it. I don't know. He's still, as far as movie goes, Hulk Hogan's best one's still Suburban Commando, so...
He wasn't bad in Mr. Nanny or whatever. I remember watching that as a kid. Just thinking that was one of the most hilarious things. This big dude and he's being a nanny. It's funny. It's ironic, but
yeah.
This was like the biggest post of today on our group of people talking about him being in this movie. Which should tell you, I appreciate that we have a group that people can just talk about random things, and so it doesn't have to do with wrestling. And, Hogan wasn't he talking about being in the Expendables for, years now? Ever since they started the first one. And most of the time he makes up stuff about being in things that he was never a part of, like Metallica for some reason. But yeah, I mean, this is... I'll probably have a little moment, if I'm watching it, and be like, hey, there's Hogan, cool. Let's move on to the other 50 million cameos they're going to have this movie,
Mm-hmm.
That's all those movies are now, is just, what other action guy can we get in this movie?
Yeah, it's the truth. It really is. And my God, if they're going to at least put Hogan, you got to have a return for Chuck Norris. I'm sorry. He wasn't the other one long enough.
Weren't they even trying to have a all-female Expendables at one point, too?
The Expendabellas.
Yeah.
That sounds terrifying. That sounds like the Bellas are going to be in it.
I'd watch that movie.
What? Actually, it wouldn't be. I think it would be a actually interesting movie.
It would be good. I'm just saying. I'm afraid that it's too close to the Bellas, and they'll end up in the movie. But
might come off better than the all-female Ghostbusters.
What? That existed?
You didn't know that was happening? That's already been cast and everything.
Oh God, I am gonna have to be going to some prayer sessions. They've already ruined Ninja Turtles with a female turtle. I mean, there's nothing against female. It's the fact that they're trying to change what it was, and I don't like that. Anyway.
You're aggressive, Gary.
Not on my 80s cartoons, I can't be. Anyway, enough about, I guess, me being sexist, which I'm not. It's just, I love my cartoons. Needless to say.
Don't we all?
I know. But, I mean, I think it would be cool. I mean, honestly, the Expendables, I think it should happen because there's so many female action stars out there that have not got a chance to be a part of this series, and I think it'd be kind of cool. And I think there's a market for it, So, well, you know what? There's some other big news we can talk about besides movies. Let's talk about TV, and let's talk about Total Divas, since we're talking about all women. Apparently, they are moving to Tuesdays. That is to complement Tough Enough. And not only that, You've got Naomi going to be added back onto the show, but you're going to lose Cameron and Rosa Mendez. They're going to be walking away from the show for a little while. So, I mean, Sean, you've already kind of pointed out, you thank God. Do you think this is going to make the show better, I guess?
I'll miss Vinny. That's about as much as I'm going to miss the two of them. I'm sure that they'll still show up because they literally have nothing else for Rosa Mendez or Cameron to do. You know, I still think it's a shame that they don't have Emma on this show. Most of the time, I mean, it could just be something where Emma just says no, she doesn't want to, but the couple times she's been on, she's really funny, and I wish she got to be on. But other than that, I mean, I think that they needed to lighten the load. It was too many people last season, and they had to make them do really stupid things like the whole Paige and Rosa storyline, and just
yeah. No, I understand. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I could totally see your point. What about you, Paul? I mean, what do you think about all these moves?
I haven't watched Total Divas, I think, since midway through season 2. But I'm like Sean said, they'll still be on there. They run around backstage all the time. If the girls are talking to each other, they won't be fixtures. So that's really the only difference.
The move with Tough Enough is smart, though.
I
think that's really smart to promote on 2 stations. They can promote the crap out of it. I think they're coming on after. So they can promote the crap out of Total Divas on USA. And, you know, any women that are watching Tough Enough because they love reality TV and they haven't watched Total Divas before, oh, now you get to watch the Divas and reality TV. I mean, I think it just works really well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And another thing, it gets it away from the Sunday night pay-per-views that'll be happening, you know.
And Walking Dead and all the other things.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is perfect. This gives everybody an ample opportunity to watch it. I think the only thing that'll be a problem may be America's Got Talent during the summer, if they're on during the summer. So, that's, you know, pretty much it. I can't think of any of the huge shows on Tuesday night.
And it won't be on it comes on 2 weeks after Tough Enough starts, I should note. So they won't be doing that first off. It's Total Divas starts like July 7th or something, so they'll be getting to do that a couple weeks after Tough Enough starts.
Fair enough. So that is your Total Divas news, and that pretty much wraps up all the other big news we've had for you this week. You know, we've had, you know, not anything hard-hitting, nothing too controversial besides the TNA stuff, but that's okay. Not every week has to be super sad or super controversial, right?
It's a controversy of in itself.
Yeah, you're right. So, hey, you know what? Let's take the time to enjoy it while we can talk about it, right? So, anyway, I'm not saying anything,
Dixie.
Dixie.
It sad, Gary.
I didn't say the C word or nothing. You know, just not renewed. So anyway, all right, let's move on, guys. We have a great show to talk about, and that is Monday Night Raw. We have, you know, it's going to build us up to that big Elimination Chamber. So let's go ahead and get it hitting hard and heavy at Monday Night Raw.
WWE Monday Night Raw.
Alright, this week's Raw was from Long Island, New York, the last time WWE will have ever been in the Nassau Coliseum. Now that the Islanders have been out for a while and the Rangers forced Game 7, so at least New York still has a team playing hockey for one more game, at least. Hopefully for more along. This was also the Memorial Day episode of Raw with Vince coming on before the show started, I think, talking to everybody, which was cool. We get this starts also the Helter Skelter crowd that we had on this evening. Long Island is notorious for basically never knowing what they want, and they continued that here on this show. Pretty much we had your standard Authority opening segment to start it off. we get at least we get a "We Want Ambrose" chant, and here they talk. Rollins talks about Ambrose and all this stuff, and eventually they make it about a contract, and yeah. So that and it bleeds into the first match, which also stars Ambrose and Roman Reigns, who comes out. And this also ties into the end of the show as well, ties into the middle of the show. Basically, this is your main story throughout the show. How do you guys think this played out? Because, when I listened to the reaction while I was at work today, those guys were not happy about this for the most part. But what do you think, Paul?
The opening segment return of being 20 minutes and not accomplishing a whole lot was not something I was thrilled to see. It was very boring, it was very dry, and it did nothing to catch my attention at all. Unlike the last couple of weeks where we've been talking about Raw, where the opening segment's at least been worth something, this certainly wasn't. The tag match that they make after this with Reigns and Ambrose teaming up to take on Kane and Rollins, also not overly exciting, but not overly bad, just there. So, I mean, within your first 30, 40 minutes of showtime, you got nothing grabbing your attention. That's not a start you want. I will say that Dean later on, though, is just hilarious, especially when he's getting arrested. I died. I thought it was so funny.
I should note that Stone Cold Steve Austin was also arrested in the same month in 1998 for the same reason. So.
Wow. That was exactly what I thought of, as Stone Cold Steve Austin when those handcuffs came out. Because, Stone Cold was arrested on plenty of occasions, so it doesn't surprise me that it landed on the same day as the Dean Ambrose arrest, and I'm sure...
What do y'all think about how they played this? Okay, so we have Ambrose punch a cameraman. You could immediately tell where this was going. Fonzie basically called it out before they even did the segment where they arrested Ambrose. He was funny during that segment. And then, at least they modernized it with the whole, some random WWE employee, I guess, was just taping this. I don't know. We don't get the behind the camera person, whoever was filming this. Seth Rollins is the guy that pushes the cameraman into Ambrose, which causes him to, hit him or whatever. And then Ambrose is back at the end of the night. Every state is different. I'll tell you, in Texas, that could have been pulled off. In Florida, hell no. There's no way Ambrose would have been out in 2 hours. It takes them freaking 10 hours sometimes to process something. So, maybe in New York that can happen. But being able to suspend disbelief, I guess, is the point of this. Not to mention he also comes out in a paddy wagon, which I don't know anybody else that uses a paddy wagon today, but that was funny. Did you like the? I mean, it sort of was the predictable thing with him coming out at the end, but would you guys have preferred him not show up at the end? Or was this fine? Or
I'm glad he did, personally, because I thought for the end there that they were going to have Roman Reigns sign that damn contract. And while I would be okay with Rollins and Reigns, I would like actual build for that. Not like we've gotten a lot of build for Rollins and Ambrose, but there should be some more to this and to that match, personally, in my opinion. I will say parts of this I was okay with. I really enjoyed the idea of WWE starting to do this where they have guys backstage catching stuff on their phone. It seems more real. It fits in with how social media and everything works today. And Dean Ambrose coming out dressed up like a cop at the end was just funny to me, too. But I will say it wasn't overly interesting. It felt like an old hat almost.
So you don't blame it on... So the crowd chanting for Ambrose and then being totally dead when he comes out, you blame that on it not being interesting, or you blame that on the crowd just being weird?
I blame that on most of Raw being uninteresting. There were very few spots in this show that grabbed my attention when I was watching this today.
Didn't they, they also did it with Ryder, where they were chanting for Ryder, he comes out and does his thing, and they're dead for that, too.
You know, I don't know how that crowd doesn't pop when Zack Ryder pulls off a 450 of all things, because that got to pop out of me.
Yeah, that was. And we can also say that there was no way Zack Ryder was winning.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what took him out of it too.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get up and excited about a guy that there's no way in heck he's going to win that match. And, you feel happy for him. At least he's on the show. But besides that, why he's there. It's just because it's his hometown. And he's there to get the crowd excited, which they can't figure out what they want to be excited about and don't want to be excited about. So that's the way I kind of look at it with the Ambrose thing. I mean, I think there were fans that really like him, but at times I think, they kind of thought we did it maybe. Maybe they thought, I've seen this a whole lot of times. Stone Cold used to do this all the time. Get arrested, come back at the end, and save the day. Same thing. And we also have to remember, too, before he even came out, you have Roman Reigns back in the ring fighting the Authority. No reason behind it besides the fact that he's had beef with him before. Nothing else to add in. Why he's helping Ambrose.
Well, he obviously doesn't like Rollins. I mean...
Well, no, he doesn't. But there's plenty of other people that have had problems with Rollins and that don't come out and fight. The thing is I would have liked them to, and this is nitpicking, but I would like to at least have more of reason for Reigns to come out. Either him saying, I'm tired of, us all getting disrespected. I'm only helping Ambrose because, I think that he deserves a fair shot. You guys aren't doing it. I mean, to me personally, this whole thing is...
Well, I mean, he also could have gotten a phone call from Dean, and he could have said, hey, can you stall for me? Be a buddy and stall for me? I
agree, but I want to hear that. I want a Monday Night Raw. I need to hear that. That's the point.
That would... Well, I mean, it would be cool and everything. They should do that more often, where they don't necessarily always have to leave it up to your imagination as to how we got to here, but I think that's also us overthinking things. So
I think I think for the casual fan sitting there watching this show, they're asking these questions. It's not about just the smart fans or anything like that. I think the casual fan is okay. Ambrose is the guy I'm rooting for, and all of a sudden Reigns is back in the picture. Why is he back in the picture? Did he forget that he lost the triple threat maybe and Ambrose earned this? Or I don't know. That's my point. I just think they need to explain it a little bit more, even if it's like they did the Fallout. In the Fallout, say something. Have Reigns talk about it. Have Renee Young interview him. I know it's nitpicking. I wish I had more information on that. But I'm in total agreement with Paul. This, as much as they want to get it to going where they want it to go, and that's to be a very high impact, getting everybody excited for Elimination Chamber, it was a very lackluster effort. Nothing against Ambrose, nothing at all. I think he did fine. It's just, it's been done plenty of times. Nothing new. They can find different ways to get Ambrose over, and being a crazy lunatic, they can do it. They just got to figure it out and not be lazy.
Well, I mean, but if we're also going to go on what you're saying, Ambrose should have been arrested at the end of the night for stealing the police car. So.
Yep, you're right. Exactly.
And impersonating an officer, technically.
But you have to remember, and the clip that we played at the beginning on the intro was Fallout from Raw. And what did Ambrose say on that? Ambrose says, I've made lots of... In this business, I've made lots of enemies. In this business, I've gained lots of friends. Same goes for the police force. I've gained lots of enemies in the police force, and I've gained lots of friends in the police force. So basically what he's saying is, my buddy let me take this. So that's see, but it's an explanation, even though it's not in Raw, which maybe they think that's too much to have in Raw. Kind of like your point, Sean. That phone call to Reigns is too much to have in Raw, so put it after.
Yeah, it's just I think that they don't. It's like anything else. You give too much exposition, then it's not part of the story anymore. I just. Who knows? Either way, as Paul mentioned, there wasn't a whole lot to this show. They had the really... normally I don't mind this, but they've wrestled so many times against one another that who cares that you're having these matchups? The whole, Ryback and Barrett, Sheamus and Ziggler for the 50 millionth time. Truth gets squashed by Rusev in 2 seconds, so we can have another, Truth is still a waste of space on that Elimination Chamber match. I still don't understand where that's going. I mean, probably one of the most exciting things on the entire show was Stardust and Steve Amell going at it, or Stephen Amell from Arrow, sort of making eyes at each other and whatever. Just, I mean, that's saying something, isn't it? Like, that's one of the things that they might be booking for. I mean, that's cool if that's a SummerSlam angle for Stardust. But, did he or the cast of Entourage just get you all happy about Raw?
I never watched the TV show Entourage, so I have absolutely zero interest in the movie, too. I think it played in well to what they were trying to accomplish with the U.S. title open. While it was a dead giveaway for who we were getting, I still think it made the match part at least fun, because Cena hyping up his match tonight and at Elimination Chamber just bored me to tears, because it's never, ever different. It's the same shit every week until we get to the match, which is the most entertaining part. Like you said, the mid-card stuff, especially surrounding the Intercontinental Championship match at Elimination Chamber, wasn't particularly thrilling. I think Ryback and Barrett had a fair match. I think Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler had a pretty good match. Outside of, Rusev's interest on this show wasn't in squashing R-Truth. It was his ongoing saga with Lana, which I find very interesting, because their promo, I think, was one of the better parts of the show. They're going back and forth, and Lana pretty much standing up and putting, women in wrestling ahead a long way, too. Just, I don't need your shit, Rusev. I don't need this. I'm out,
But could you say she also doesn't need to be doing anything with Ziggler either? Stand by herself?
Michael Cole very clearly said that Ziggler knows he's being used and he's okay with it. So if that's how they're going to go about it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could tell the whole use thing because of her just watching Ziggler get punished and just standing there staring at him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not like she screamed or jumped in the ring and tried to save him or anything like that. So it all makes sense, and I don't, you blame Ziggler. But in the thought process of Lana, you can also say this. It's definitely a showcase of Vince McMahon is definitely behind her. She has her own music. She has her own screens. The digital board has her name. I mean, so they don't do that just for anybody. Heck, Paul Heyman himself doesn't even have all that.
That's also from when she was first doing stuff with Rusev, too, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're still keeping it. They're allowing her to still do it. There's a lot of people that they take things away because they're like, why? She's not that important.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they take it, they give it, whatever they want to do on that show. I just think that, that's an interesting thought process on it. It probably was the best work that they did promo-wise in the show. It was an interesting back and forth between Rusev and Lana, and I think what I thought was funny, and you guys will have to tell me what you think, but the whole way that she handled Rusev, the way she talked to him, it was almost like it was a commercial for how women should talk to men who are affecting them in a negative way, either any kind of abuse, I'll say that way. Any kind of hatred or meanness or anything that goes towards women. She definitely handled it the way, they probably would teach you in a battered child shelter. I'm not saying anything bad. I think this is actually good.
Well, it's not in what you say. It's what you do. Because you can say the exact same things that Lana said, right? Many women do this, but the problem is they do what Lana did originally, which was go back to him and stay there. She did the more powerful thing of saying that to him, walking away, and then the last picture you have is Rusev looking like a total idiot, just having Ziggler in that accolade, making it look like, oh, because I'm stronger than him, that makes me, you should pick me, or that I'm, still awesome, look at me, and I look so stupid instead. probably, the people that are most people that are watching it or listening, maybe not even thinking about it like that. But I just looked at it and I was like, man, how dumb does Rusev look? He stuck his foot in his mouth, and then you're also just looking like a total like dumbass, just sitting here accolading Ziggler, and it's obvious Lana doesn't care about Ziggler either. So. That's
true. I think he's just taking his frustrations out on Ziggler. That's the whole point of it, I think. And I'm probably overthinking the Lana discussion with Rusev. I just thought it was interesting, and here's why. It's because of the bullying campaigns, the different things that WWE's doing. I think that it could be used in some kind of, thought process of, hey, we're showing young women that, if someone's hurting them in any way, this is the way you talk to your person that's being egregious to you. So I just thought it was interesting. Nothing serious, not looking too much into it. I just like to think about these things.
Mm-hmm. It's just also sad that in the same vein, they also have 4 women backstage giddy all over the entourage, and then they're just never on TV. And you could pick out the fact that all 4 of them have nothing to do with Total Divas, so that means they're not even part of the Divas roster. They're just there.
Yeah, just hanging out.
According to WWE,
Yeah, and sadly, I've never watched Entourage either. These guys meant nothing to me.
One of those guys, sadly, all of them have been actors in something else and are, popular for that in their own right. People are probably going to sit here and crucify me for the fact that I'm recognizing probably the guy that's maybe not the most popular, but the short guy, I know him from watching all the Think Like a Man's and all that stuff, because he's in those. But still, I know some of them from outside of Entourage, and I never watch Entourage either. What was funny, I loved that they made the joke of Jeremy Piven not being there because he's still thinking about Summerfest. That was great.
Yeah.
What did we think about the Kevin Owens little segment there?
It was another little thing that grabs your interest. At least Kevin Owens is still a fresh sighting on the main roster. So him and still interacting with John Cena is about as surreal to me as it is for Kevin Owens' son. It just boggles my mind.
Yeah. True.
I think it was fine. It is a repeat of what they did last week, but hey, sometimes that's okay.
But you really need to drive that point home. Make it seem that it's not a 1-week thing. He really wants to step on that U.S. title and show that he's better.
Oh, I agree. I do, and I don't have a problem with it. That's exactly what I wanted to see happen. I said, if he's going to do the same thing, still do the move, I think I need to see him step on the title again. He did it. Basically saying, hey, my title is more important, blah, blah, blah. But this is why I want to see this match so much, not because of the history or anything, with each guy on their own, coming together, kind of what Paul's talking about, but I just think that what they've done so far makes you excited about it. You care because there's so much now emotionally involved. The disrespect to the U.S. title, which John Cena has been building up for so long now. I think this is awesome. It makes you care. It makes you get emotionally involved. And heck, I'm emotionally involved for sure now.
Oh, yeah. You're right about that. Talking about getting emotionally involved, 2 things that you should be more emotionally involved in, but WWE decided that they wanted to make you do the exact opposite. For some reason, the person that's in the match at Elimination Chamber, they have to get beat by Tamina, of all people. Because that doesn't make her look any better at going into Elimination Chamber at all. But, because Tamina's not involved in this match, but she has to win for no reason. And then also this, I don't know what this was with the tag team. For one, we don't mention them or say anything about them until like almost the last part of the last hour. And this is one of your big matches on the show, by the way. One of your Elimination Chamber matches. and you wait till about 10:40 Eastern Time to even say anything about New Day or Tag Team Champions or whatever. And then Kane comes out and makes a 10-on-3 handicap match. Now, why, if I'm watching this and the New Day are supposed to be heels, why would I hate the fact that the New Day... Shouldn't I be rooting for the New Day? That they're the 3 teams having to face 10 other guys? I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. And then the brawl just seemed like very hackneyed. Like, we have no other way to promote this, so here. Just, I don't know. But, what do you think, Paul?
I would say the brawl, while you nailed it, is sort of a throwaway almost. It was at least interesting. It was at least, it felt more, it didn't feel as bland, you know. I mean, the booking is bland, but their action, I think, totally helped pick you up and keep you interested. Not only that, I think the New Day's promo beforehand pretty much solidified that, hey, we hate this town, we hate you people here. And so when they get put up against the odds, you're going to cheer for them getting their asses handed to them. I mean, let's be honest. Big E, I think, was a real star in this promo, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Big E, I'm so proud of what he's doing so far. This is just awesome. He's getting a chance to showcase himself a lot here in the New Day. I think that, kind of what Paul was saying is very true. And I think of the fact that, them stacking the odds against the New Day, even though they are the heel tag team here, I just think it gives more of a reason for people to do that, to get so excited that they're going to get beat down. But not only that, it also helps New Day, because at the end of the battle, when they're standing tall, you think, man, the New Day's, doing pretty well here. It just seems like we can't put them down. It's like that roach that you see and you're trying to step on it and you can't catch it. It's like you want to squash it, but you can't. For some reason, it survives. So, I mean, I think this is, a good thing for New Day, and I don't think they did them wrong at all. Sure, it wasn't the most entertaining thing you saw the entire night, probably, but it was kind of fun to see all the tag teams go against each other. The normal stuff we see on a go-home show. But I like the booking for New Day, and it makes them look good.
Yeah, energetic was the word I was looking for. There was some energy in this segment, as opposed to very much what we got on the rest of the show, which we had a lack of.
I just hated the feeling of there should have been, more importance put on it, I guess, was my take. Like, you went through this whole ordeal of, at least the Intercontinental title stuff, even though it was, old hat, they were throughout the show. Like, the tag team titles kind of felt like oh crap, we need to promote this now.
Right.
Let's put this in here.
Yeah, but that's exactly what's happening here. WB is not giving the tag titles the respect that he once maybe had. But
why put it in an Elimination Chamber match then, if you're not going to...
It's about the fact that all the questions we're asking, I think, is part of it. How are they going to do it? This is going to be interesting. What's going to happen? And not only that, I just think all these tag teams in one match in the chamber is going to be a blast to watch. And I think that's what they were thinking. But once again, it doesn't mean that they care too much about the tag belts. It just means that, hey, this could be a fun little gig for the tag division.
It's a vehicle to get the New Day over, too. I don't think we can understress that enough.
Which is an important thing, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
What about, speaking of getting over, what about Tamina just beating Paige like this? It just kind of seems unnecessary. I don't know.
I was really enjoying this match until they started screwing it. Like, the wheels fell off at the end after Paige went for that series of clotheslines. I didn't really get the booking here either. I mean, Naomi should go over, I think, at Elimination Chamber. But if you're bringing Paige back and she's pretty much the only face you have, I would think you would want her to look strong here.
Especially because she's going to be the one probably chasing Naomi.
Right.
So, it makes a lot of sense.
It did not at all. And, I just thought the way they're handling Paige is just so weird. I mean, they did not have the right direction at all. I think that they maybe thought that they were going to do a lot better with this situation, but right now it just seems so off. They've got to do something to work this out, and hopefully what you guys are saying is going to come to fruition, and she's going to be the one chasing. I really don't see her winning.
Yeah. I would think that this is. I mean, I think you're going to be. If Naomi doesn't win Elimination Chamber, I think you're really hurting her at this point. Because she's made all the statements she needs to make. She has Tamina, which you can use as a distraction, so that it's a triple threat rule. So maybe Nikki doesn't even need to have to be pinned, even though she probably should if Paige's gonna be the one, chasing after or whatever. But we'll see what they decide to do, I guess. So, rating for this show?
5. Outside of a few brief moments, this was incredibly boring.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with Paul. I'm not going to give it anything lower. I know last week I rated Raw lower than you guys, and it was kind of a shock and a pall from you guys, but I'm right there with the 5 as well. I don't think it's so awful enough that I need to go below average, but I think it's right there in the in-between of very dangerously close to being terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say 5 too. Just also the fact that I really hate when Raw feels like such a drag. Like, it felt, as a person that, normally watches these, I watch these live or whatever, there are some, I think it was last week's Raw that I think I made a mention that it felt like, I didn't feel like 3 hours. This one felt like 4 and 5 hours. And I was sitting there like, oh my god, when is this over? It's 10:20? Okay. Damn.
Yeah. If I had to sit through this with commercials, I might have switched to something else.
Oh no, I mean, I go on my computer and do stuff on the commercial, but it's just like, it's not even the commercials, it's just the fact that, okay, we're coming back to Raw, and it's, this is not really enjoyable. Wonderful.
Yeah. I only had to sacrifice 2 hours of my day, though. Having to sacrifice 3:20 on a Monday, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know for sure, with Sean having to sit there on the computer, I mean, man, there's no telling how many Sunny videos you looked up while you're...
It certainly was not what I was...
Oh, okay. Just
Have you seen Sunny today? I mean, seriously.
I know.
Oof.
So... well, anyway, everybody, that is Monday Night Raw. We not really big on the Monday Night Raw episode this week, but we are big on talking about this Elimination Chamber coming up. So let's go ahead and get into our preview of it.
Oh, there it goes. Hey, a Donkey Kong reference. Awesome.
Talking about that real quick, and this is off topic, but Sean, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but I just saw it tonight on an old episode of a History Channel show. They did a 16-bit, I think it was. They did an old Nintendo version commercial of American Pickers. Beautiful.
That's awesome. It would have been, if it's a Nintendo, it would have been 8-bit, but yeah.
8-bit, sorry, I get confused. But 8-bit, you're correct. Go check it out. Look it up. 8-bit American Pickers commercial. It is awesome. But let's talk about Elimination Chamber. So from the card I'm looking at, and correct me, guys, if you're looking at the card as well, I look at 6 matches currently. These matches are, of course, going to be maybe not in the order I give them in, but let's go ahead and start with one that definitely could be a pre-show match, and that is Neville versus Bo Dallas. And I'm not sure if you guys believe. But what I do know is that we're going to have a match that should be good. I'm just kind of curious to see who they're going to put over here. Neville should win. That's going to be my pick. But then again, Bo Dallas really could use a victory.
It's a fun feud, I think, simply because it plays off of the NXT history very well. I think Bo Dallas has been very entertaining on his times in the mic when he's gotten the chance to in these past 2 weeks. But there's no way he goes over here. They seem intent on making Neville into a mid-card star, which is where I think he would fit perfectly. So, and if Sheamus is the one to get the nod for the Intercontinental title, I think Sheamus and Neville is going to be a dynamite feud.
You know, somebody has been very quiet to do this. A certain brother of Bo Dallas. I still think the rumors of Bo Dallas joining the Wyatt family are not far off. And I really think you know what? I honestly think Vince is not keen on rekindling NXT feuds. I think this is just a transition into eventually we're getting Bray Wyatt and Neville. Which also means they're probably getting Neville and Luke Harper and Neville and Rowan and all that stuff in before we get to that. Which Neville Luke Harper would be fantastically awesome. But still, I think that there's nothing for Bo to do at this point. Why not have him become another member of the Wyatt family and see what you can do with that? And I think that's a really cool first mid-card feud for Neville. I don't know what that means for Wyatt because he would eventually have to lose, but I think Neville wins here, and maybe we have a Rowan and Harper like beatdown or something, and Wyatt comes out and some stuff happens, or maybe they save this for Money in the Bank. Who knows? But I think we're gonna see it happening. I don't know. Anybody else think I'm totally off or something?
I mean, I do. This match almost feels like the equivalent of busy work in high school for Neville.
Oh, I forgot about it, honestly.
Yeah, see, I mean,
it's easy to forget for sure. You have to look at the card just to help jog your memory, because honestly, I think I was not even aware that they actually put this on the card. But, you know, Sean, you can't see me. You know, we're doing this on Skype, and but
I'm waving my hand in front of my face, scary.
I know, and we don't do video usually when we're doing this, but my hand went straight to my hand, and I was just almost in tears. Bo Dallas, the Wyatt family. Right now, they're not even taking Bo. They're not really taking the Wyatt family.
They're not believing in him, Gary.
They're not believing in him. Okay, I will say this. To your credit, I think Bo Dallas works in the family if they can find a way to make him the creepy guy that tries to recruit or tries to do things to.
He's already creepy. Just imagine what they could do with that.
I agree, but he's going to have to lose the outfit that he has currently. He's going to have to completely change that gimmick because he's got to keep the whole personality, but he's got to change his clothes to be a part of the family. I can't see him coming out in a Bo Dallas shirt and being a part of the family.
Oh, obviously not.
He's got to look a little bit more trashy, look a little bit more creepy. But we'll see. I don't know. I
don't know. He's creepy enough as it is.
Oh, he is. He is. But needless to say, I am picking Neville for this. I think it's going to be a straight up match. I think if they're going to do anything major like the family, I think it's going to be later. I really do. But Sean, you
I mean, it's possible. I mean, they got time during that show. They don't even have a full card here. They could definitely, find something else to do later on to fill time.
Yeah, you make a great point. So, well, let's go ahead and jump on to another match. Let's go ahead and talk about the fact that we do have a Divas match here, and this is for the Divas Championship. So let's get into this, guys. We have Nikki Bella, of course, her with the title, with Brie Bella hanging on over there, against Paige and Naomi. So, and of course, Tamina is going to be on the outside as well. So this is going to be kind of interesting. Paige is kind of the lone duck by herself. The other two have people on the outside helping. What do you expect out of this match? Do you really think, I know we already talked about this, but I know both of you guys think that Naomi's going to go over, or at least that's what I remember you talking about during Raw. But what do you expect out of the match? Is this a hashtag give Divas a chance match, or is this just kind of like another blow-off?
I really hope they give this match time. With only 6 matches on the show, currently, and with what I'm assuming is a 3-hour pay-per-view, they got time to fill. Why not let these girls have 10 minutes and try to go out there and put on something these fans in Corpus are going to remember? At the end of the day, I still think Naomi retains. I think she has to win, as we mentioned earlier, preferably pinning Nikki, but we'll see what they decide to go with.
Yeah, I agree with Paul 100% on this. Like I said, you can use Tamina as a way to kind of put a foil into this that makes it to where neither Paige nor Nikki really lost on purpose or whatever. You can do whatever you want here, but Naomi needs to win so that, it keeps building her strong. You kind of get the full build of Naomi, and then she gets to be champion, and she fulfills this promise of beating the Bellas, and now, maybe Nikki's still around for Money in the Bank, but after that it's full on Paige versus Naomi, and if that's all your Divas division is going to be, let them take the ball and roll with it, and you really do need to give this match time, because even if you are going to add on stuff later on or through .com or whatever they want to do, you still got to fill that time on the pay-per-view and everywhere else but the U.S.
Yeah, you're right. And I hope that's the case too. They've got to give them time. They got to let them do their thing and showcase what they could do. We keep talking about on this show about the fact that when they have those big NXT specials, usually the following pay-per-view the WWE has a bunch of pissed off WWE superstars because of the fact that, they have been outdone by the pay-per-view beforehand and all that stuff. This is a perfect opportunity. Elimination Chamber follows TakeOver. I meant previous, but this time the show follows the big NXT special. So now they're getting the opportunity to say, hey, this is what we can do. You guys do great over there, but this is what we do. This is a good time for them to, to do as best as they can do, because they want to, maybe try to at least get close to what Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch did, I think, personally. I think they're going to at least try, and I think Vince owes it to them to let them try. Hopefully they get that time.
The last time that happened, they did not deliver much at all. So.
Right. I know. Well, let's just hope and wish. Of course, you can do that and see which hand fills up first when you're doing something else. So.
Carry God.
Let's move on and talk about something you guys actually want to talk about. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, guys, for that World Heavyweight Championship. What are you expecting out of this match?
Well, I think Seth Rollins retains by hook or crook. I am expecting something great and something memorable and something that will hopefully make you want to tune into this more than just the Elimination Chamber gimmick. And hopefully something that keeps Dean looking okay going forward, because that's been a spotty situation at best this past year.
I would think that, Chris wouldn't be far off in that I'm sure Roman Reigns will be out there to protect his buddy Dean. It would certainly be a different direction. It would be a fresh direction for Roman Reigns. So I'm not going to totally rule out what Chris was saying. I just think that they don't want to go that... I mean, if they go that course, that's cool, and they're doing something a little bit different. But I'm going to say WWE kind of sticks things status quo. And it would also be a nice way for Roman Reigns to kind of have a thing with Brock Lesnar when he comes back, too, if they turn him. So, just another thought. But yeah, I think if they don't deliver, they don't give us something memorable, it's going to be a real disappointment, because what we've wanted with these two is a title match between the two. And it's, no crazy rules, no crazy stipulation like the cage match, nothing. Should be a fine, dandy match, and I'm sure there'll be shenanigans all over it. Just hope it doesn't take away from what could be, something we're talking about after the show, that it was really great.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And I think shenanigans are going to be a big part of it. Both of you guys kind of talked about that. And here's the thing. I'm really hoping that, because I really feel like J&J security is not going to be enough. That's obvious, especially since you mentioned Roman Reigns on the outside helping Ambrose and all that. So that already
Big Show's been backstage, so there's possibilities he could show up again.
Yep, you're alluding to that, and I agree. I think Big Show could be a big part of it. So, I mean, you can even out the playing field maybe that way as well for Seth Rollins. But I think truly for Seth Rollins to really actually win this match and do things, I think they got to add my favorite food group to this. I really do. Because if they add my favorite food group to this, I think there's going to be success for Seth Rollins, and that is sexual chocolate.
Oh, boy.
Mark Henry is a Texas native. I think this is perfect for him to show up, and at least, even if it's a one-off, come in here and help out the Authority. Why not? So
you don't just like chocolate, you like sexual chocolate.
Exactly.
Okay.
Me and Mae Young have a lot in common, I think, in that. So.
Oh boy. One of these things, I don't know that I want. Now I really don't know if I want to know what you dream about at night, Gary. You keep scaring me every week.
Keeping it classy over here on W2M.
Exactly. So, needless to say, I don't know what's going to happen, but what I do know is for sure going to happen. Seth Rollins walking out of this Elimination Chamber show with his top.
Another thing too is that they have a little while to go before you get to SummerSlam with Brock. Why not let Ambrose run with these next couple of pay-per-views? And maybe you don't do a one-off, and that's where I think Chris's idea of Roman Reigns turning, put everything against Ambrose. Make it Ambrose against the world. And see what that does to the crowd reaction. I bet it's more overwhelmingly positive than negative.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, try it. If the guy gets mega over, you bring Brock in and you have Ambrose waiting in the wings whenever you're done with Brock. I mean, I'm just saying. I think it's a cool idea.
I agree, and that's why I brought up Mark Henry. I was joking, but that's definitely a thought. I mean, bring the whole kitchen sink at this guy and see how the crowd reacts and see how well he does. And, Corpus Christi, I think they should be a pretty good audience, They should be pretty thrilled about this whole show, so.
Corpus Christi's like Long Island. A lot of times, they're really weird, too.
Mm-hmm. Let's just hope that they're happy that night, so. Well, you know what? I think all of us pretty much had the same choice, Seth Rollins in this. So let's move on to this next match, and I'm really curious what you guys have to say about this match. This is probably, honestly, the match I'm anticipating the most, and this is going to be kind of weird for me to say that because it is a John Cena match. But John Cena versus Kevin Owens, the NXT champion versus the US champion versus champion match. How do you guys, feel about this match overall? Do you think it's going to go past your expectations? Where does it land on where you're expecting?
I think you nailed it on the head. This is the match that I think carries the show. It has a lot of interest behind it, not only for just people like us who, indie fans and smarks and whatever else you want to call people who are wrestling fans on the internet, but I think Kevin Owens has the potential to be a breakout star, even if you've only known him for the past 2 weeks. This match should be great. They have very similar styles. I want to see how Cena works with Owens. I want to see how Owens works with Cena. I fully expect this to be a no finish. I don't think WWE wants to sacrifice anything either way on this one, and we either get a double count out or double disqualification, or Kevin Owens just decides he's had enough and walks out, or something along those lines. But nobody is going over here clean or really any way possible. So I think they'll find a way for the no finish.
Oh yeah, this is total no finish written all over it. If it's not, that's really weird. But if, like Chris said, if Owens is not going to be anywhere near the main roster, outside of maybe some select appearances or whatever, I think you do no finish. There's no point in having Cena beat him. It would be really silly, and having Owens beat Cena would only mean that Owens deserves to be on the main roster. Then he shouldn't even go back to NXT. He should just vacate the title and stay on the main roster, because if you can beat Cena, then well, what do you need to go back to developmental for? You know.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I wouldn't even be surprised if Samoa Joe shows up and, you know, cost Owens the match so they can keep cross-promoting NXT and WWE. Or you could have myriad of, you know, you could have any of Owens' many challengers show up here and cost him the match. Or not cost him the match, but that's the only way I will be okay with if Owens loses. Is if somebody comes in and blatantly just makes it to where it's their fault that Owens lost, then it's cool. But I'd much rather them do the no contest if no one else is going to get involved here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think no contest would be the best option besides the involvement of someone else. And I like your idea, Sean, a lot, of Samoa Joe. I think that would fit it perfectly, because they're going to have shows following with Samoa Joe, and of course having him kind of be the torturer of Kevin Owens. Owens has been the torturer of Sami Zayn, so now it's time for the bully to get bullied.
I think it's also important too that you can use it as a gauge for Joe. Like, it's not, you know, a big smarky town. It's not, you know, somewhere where TNA inhabited. So, you know, you can see what kind of reaction he gets in Corpus Christi, and who knows, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I really am curious, because that crowd is, like you said, Sean, kind of, you know, wishy-washy. You don't know which way they're going. They're really hyped or just kind of indifferent, and I think that's a good gauge of what, you know, you can get in the country, besides the really, you know, smarky towns, Philadelphia and such, so. Well, let's move on past this, and we have a big Elimination Chamber match that involves the Tag Team Championship belts. And there are a lot of tag teams in this, so let's just move on. You can look them up if you really want to know each one, and we'll talk about probably all of them in here, you know. But let's go ahead and talk. What do you think about this match? I mean, do New Day retain? Who wins this match at the end of the day?
I'm really intrigued to see this match, just for the simple how it's going to work. 12 people inside a cage. There's a whole lot of people on the outside. Well, I mean, there's a word here that's going to fit perfectly that's not coming to my mind, but the logistics, that's it. The logistics of this match is going to be something to see on its own. Sadly, half the teams in here have absolutely no chance. The Los Matadors, the Ascension, the Primetime Players, as much as I wish they were a factor, just have nothing going for them right now. New Day, I think, have a solid chance to retain. I think the Lucha Dragons are the dark horse, and I think if WWE's getting gun shy, maybe you put them on Kid and Cesaro again. But, and no, you should keep the belts on the New Day. They're the ones you've been focusing on. They have all the momentum. There's no reason they should drop them here.
Man. You know, our good friend Tony Acero said, or not, it wasn't Tony. It was, Jimmy Christopher said that it would be a waste if they don't take this opportunity to put it on a team that hasn't had the belts before, because this will be a landmark moment for tag teams, because it's the first ever tag team elimination chamber. You know, Lucha Dragons could be that team. If Darren Young hadn't released his own documentary, which will, I'm sure, bury the Primetime Players because he's trying to get himself over. You know, and then maybe the Primetime Players do something here. But I agree with you. There's teams on here that don't. They're here just to fill a void. I would say the New Day need to retain because, you know, as we've said, these titles are really doing. The New Day are doing things for these titles. You know. They're really starting to gain some steam. You know, Big E keeps looking good in these promos. Xavier Woods as well. I think Kofi's still trying to find his way in this, but I think he will eventually the more time he gets on screen. But, you know, it's just, I would hope they don't throw it away for that, because it's also a big win for the New Day. Like, it cements them if they win this Elimination Chamber. Think about that, too, of them, complaining how much unfair it is and how all this and all that, and sort of like, when Triple H kept the title at the first Elimination Chamber. People don't like to see it, but it makes it a big win for that team, So, just a thought.
No, and some very good thoughts. And, I'm looking at this whole picture, and there's a few tag teams in here I would love to see win the belts. And primetime players right now are very high on my list. I think that a big win could do those guys a lot of good. I know right now they're really not geared to be the tag team champions, but I would love to see it. The Ascension's not a team that any of us are looking at. That's a team that pretty much has been a joke.
I hope not.
So, I mean, you can eliminate
What a
them.
swerve that would be. The Ascension are your new tag team champions.
Yeah. That would really make the internet community very upset. So Vince may do it. But you know what? I think the Lucha Dragons are the team that I think if I was New Day, I'd be the most concerned about, really and honestly. They're a team that's young. They're a team that I think right now WWE could get behind. So that's pretty much why I think that. But in the end, I really look at this picture, and I think New Day walks away retaining their belt. I think that they've kind of got a preview of that at this last Raw. So, I mean, I kind of expect that. I think New Day retains. So, but moving on, guys, we do have another Elimination Chamber match, and I think this one is going to be great as well. This one may be a little bit more violent, though, because of the fact that I think this will be the last match, maybe, or maybe not. But I think there's going to be one where, of course, we get the pods being broken and, those kind of fun things happening. So, we have to look forward to that. But, we're going to have Sheamus in the pod. We're also going to have Ryback. I mean, these guys are hard-hitting guys. Plus R-Truth, which, man, I keep getting the question, why R-Truth? The guy's retiring, so that's why. Plus, we get King Barrett, and we also get Rusev involved in this, along with Dolph Ziggler. So, we got some big names in here, all vying for the IC title. We're going to have to see who wins. What is your thought process on this match? Who will win?
I think really anybody outside of R-Truth and King Barrett, you could say have a chance. And I guess you could say King Barrett has a very small one, but that's not an option I would explore. I think Rusev and Dolph Ziggler, either one of them getting the belts to help highlight their feud going on would be fine. I think Ryback getting a chance with the championship would be really fun, personally for me, just because I'm a big fan of his. But I think Sheamus is the one that gets the nod here. Like I said, I think him and Neville are bound to feud for this championship, which will be all kinds of awesome, I think, just because I think the world of both guys. But I definitely think this match was going to be something great. There's a lot of very talented people in here. Whether they've built the interest in this match, it doesn't really matter. This is going to be another one of those pay-per-views that very much carries the interest on the wrestling, not the storytelling.
True that, for sure. I think that when it comes down to it, Truth is just there. Barrett is also just there. If he can't win matches on Raw, he's not winning this for the 6th time, or however many damn times it is he's won the Intercontinental title by now. Sheamus seems to be the front runner, I think, but I don't think Ryback's going to win, because that guy, you can see he's sucking wind at every match. Poor dude. He really needs to go get that rib checked out or whatever. Really shouldn't be wrestling with that. It's got to be terrible. I don't know how he's walking around with that, let alone wrestling with it. That's props to Ryback. Rusev makes a very... Here's the thing, I hope they don't go this way, because it doesn't make sense for them to go this way, but it's possible, Vince can pull a whole swerve on us and have Rusev win the IC title and Lana find a way to accidentally screw over Dolph, or screw over Dolph on purpose, or screw over Rusev and Dolph wins. I don't know, but there's a lot of possibilities there. I think I'm getting into that I Quit match John Cena territory with things that are not going to happen, that I'm using too much creativity. I think Sheamus would probably be the safest bet. I think it really cements him as, okay, he came back to do something. Just hopefully you have him actually defend that belt and do things with it and not just hold it and do nothing with it. So I'm going to put my money on Sheamus. Man, a lot of things could happen here.
Yeah, and I think you both are really pretty much spot on this. I think that, Sheamus is definitely the favorite. He's the guy that could make this happen, and it would make all the sense in the world. I'm going to throw a curveball in here. I'm just going to say one of these matches is not going to match your predictions. And if I'm going to choose one, the one I'll say that doesn't match my prediction would have to be R-Truth in this match, winning the IC title. I'm just hear me out. I mean, not only is he retiring, I don't know the exact time, but thinking about this, wouldn't it be interesting for all these guys, all these heavy hitters? We know how Sheamus works. He works so hard. I mean, not only that, he's just very. He likes to get so close to strong style. It's not funny. Very stiff. Then you got Rusev in there who works smart, but at the same time he can get very violent. You have a lot of violent guys in this match, and R-Truth is kind of really honestly the odd man out at this.
He's the finesse guy.
Yeah, wouldn't it be so funny to see these guys tear each other apart, and at the end of the day, R-Truth is the guy that just hops on and says, okay, I can make this happen, and finds a way to sneak out a victory and run off with the belt. And once again, it's a chase for R-Truth, the guy. Now, it's not him stealing the belt, which is more entertaining, but it's still him having the belt, and of course, maybe having another big match with not just one guy, but maybe a fatal four-way or something for the IC title versus R-Truth. I just think it'd be kind of fun. It would be a one-off kind of thing. He could lose the title the next time they have a match. I just think it'd be interesting for him to be the guy standing tall. So, but I think you guys are the smart picks here. So,
prestige-wise, that is terrible, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, we're talking about the Elimination Chamber and a network special. So this is not like it's on pay-per-view or nothing like that.
It is on everywhere else but the United States.
I guess so. You make a point there. Of course, like every other American, I don't care what happens in any other country. So, kidding. I'm kidding. I'm hoping everybody in the UK is listening and thinking, what a jerk. I'm just joking. It's not real. I'm not.
What a xenophobe, that dude.
I'm not French. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on past this, guys. We've had a lot of fun previewing the Elimination Chamber. I am really looking forward to seeing what happens to this show. I think all of us are. So we'll definitely be catching up on this whole thing Sunday night. Don't forget, people. Sunday night following the Elimination Chamber, we will be having a special extra for you guys, talking all about what happens at Elimination Chamber, getting in depth, maybe even having a few guests on with us. We always like to take phone calls. Hey, as soon as this show's over, come check us out. Call in. We want to hear what you have to say about Elimination Chamber. Call me out on the comments I made tonight. I would love to hear you to do so. So, besides that, guys, let's move on and let's get into some Lucha Underground.
All right, Lucha Underground. Certainly proved why you should be watching this show this week. So, remember Marty the Moth from, I don't know how many episodes ago? Remember Dario Cueto promised him a match. Well, it was against the Lucha Underground champion Prince Puma. Marty the Moth, of course, being from Tough Enough of last season, as Paul brought up and reminded us. He got in a lot of offense here that I was surprised he did. Eventually Puma wins, and then we have a little bit of stuff with Hernandez coming out and acting like he's gonna get his title shot, and then he backs off because he decides that he's gonna pick his battle another day. How do you think this came off here with old Marty the Moth?
I enjoyed this personally. Marty coming out and like trying to get a handshake and a picture with him, only to turn and give him one of the most brutal clotheslines of the evening. I think it worked out well. That Puma he got in enough to where it didn't feel squashy. But Puma still looks strong, so I think they did a good job with this match.
Oh, I totally agree. And being unfamiliar with the Moth and just kind of wondering what they were going with this whole gimmick, it made complete sense after he attacked Puma. I mean, I was thinking to myself, okay, is he trying to be the next Bailey? I'm going to hug you, and I'm just so excited about seeing you kind of thing. I thought that, okay, whatever. But once he got violent, once he started, getting in on Puma, I thought this is great. It was great psychology. And the fact that, Puma didn't let this be a squash match. It was, back and forth for a minute there. And, of course, at the end of the day, Puma, as a champion, is going to be the one that gets over here. That's totally cool with me. I think it worked out great. And not a bad way to start the show, especially with your champion starting the show. I think sometimes it's kind of forgotten about, but I think it's a great thing when your champion is the first guy out there and started the show hot and heavy.
Yeah, I agree. It set up this, to continue the storyline with Puma and Hernandez and all that, and Marty the Moth was good here. Him being a creeper with Michelle Santos before the match started was a bit weird too. But yeah, just I don't know. That was funny. And just let's see if this comes of anything. I guess with him continuing on. So we move along, and we have Vampiro interviewing Johnny Mundo. I thought Johnny Mundo was really good here. Vampiro asked him about 3 or 4 times, I want to know why you threw him through the window, man. Like, no bullshit. Just tell me why he threw him through the window. Like, just I'm going to keep asking this question over and over, and hopefully you give me a different answer every time so we can keep this interview going. But yeah, so eventually you get to, Mundo basically saying that Patron's overrated and that he's the biggest star in Lucha Underground, that he was here before Patron decided to waltz in and take over and all this stuff. Very valid reasons as to why Mundo would have problems with Patron. I, severely enjoyed this. And we also get Dario putting the fear of God into the crew using the old Aztec made human sacrifices thing, and I might have to find someone to make a human sacrifice of you, alluding to his brother, sort of. And we also have this Daivari and Tejano match, which also has continuity with I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, where Rick told, Brother Mac that, hey, I'm all about the money, man. And he proved it by coming out and defending Daivari and basically doing whatever he wanted, because I guess that's his bodyguard or whatever it is that he is to him. And you also had a cool little segment with Katrina and Dario in his office, where Katrina scares the crap out of him and he makes him clutch the key, and he wants Phoenix and Muertes in a frickin' death match. Wow, I want to see what a death match is in Lucha Underground. And we also get Black Lotus saying that she's going to go to fulfill her destiny. And we have, of all people, freaking Chavo Guerrero decide to come back. Yeah, because, if Chavo Guerrero is protecting me, I'm feeling really secure at that point. I don't know, but that's the last person I want protecting me is Chavo Guerrero. But yeah. So what did you guys think about all this stuff here?
I echo your sentiment about Johnny Mundo sit down with Vampiro. Mundo's reasoning's very, very clear, very cogent, make a lot of sense, and they totally fit in with this new persona he's got going on now, where it's not so much about being happy fan guy now. It's about being the best at any means necessary. And when Patron comes in to step on that, he's going to throw him through a window, which I totally approve of. Stuff with Daivari, what we got in the ring was fairly boring. I don't feel like Daivari really did a lot. I'm okay with the storyline implications here, though, of him getting Rick as a bodyguard and all this stuff. I think that could make for some fun stuff later on down the road. Katrina getting the death match from Mil Muertes and Phoenix. I want to see this so badly. Their Grave Consequences match was freaking amazing, and I want to see what they do here. And I really enjoyed this Black Lotus Dragon Azteca storyline. I think adding Chavo into the mix to sort of fix the problems that he created for himself earlier, it's a fun little wrinkle. I just want to keep seeing where this story goes.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. The Black Lotus and the whole, Chavo Guerrero thing is very interesting. It's intriguing that, Chavo's all of a sudden mixed in with this as well. I'm okay with it. I mean, the guy, it definitely works behind the scenes. I'm okay with him being in front of the camera, too. He does not do a bad job.
At least he's not wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. He's not out there in the ring. Now, that may come. You may be saying that now, but it may come. So maybe don't speak so soon because he may actually make us watch him. Anyway. Daivari, I'm working backwards here. Daivari, I think... he is what he is. I mean, he's a guy that's going to get away from having to get pounded, a guy that's going to work his magic when he can, and that was the story of this one. Nothing too great, didn't do anything just exploratory, but he found a way to win that Big Rick protecting him. Hey, if that's the way he's going to get a chance to win, you got to, give him credit for finding a way to do it, even if it's illegal. So, still build on that character. And of course, I want to say this, Vampiro and Johnny Mundo, I enjoyed it. He got to the meat of this. There's a lot of times when they show interviews and they just don't let the guys get the meat of it. They just leave you hanging and wondering. This guy does his job, gets to the meat of the answer he wanted, and I'm totally down with it. I thought it was a great interview. I'm not a big Vampiro fan, but man, I'm just imagining the shoot interviews this guy could pull off, and it'd be really cool. You told me, Stephanie, you were friends with Macho. I know it. You tell me. I'm not leaving. You tell me. Okay. I tell you everything.
I like how you just did like 5 impressions.
I know. Thank you. Brother.
And none of them correlated with each other, which was even better.
That's
so Lucha Underground trios tag title or trios tag titles here. Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico defending against the Crew. Man, there was so much in this. This is one of those things again that you need to just go enjoy. The thing that makes Lucha Underground so awesome because they can have these matches where you're just like, wow, just no one else does this. It's just amazing. Freaking Angelico basically getting floored by a ladder. Ouch. If he has children after that, that's Anyway, he. They really get the whole. Is it Mr. Cisco going through the window that's already been cracked open, and then he flies through the window to do a suicide dive through there? It was cool. Oh my God, the diving drop kick from Angelico was sick. Just insane. You thought that crossbody before was crazy. This drop kick was crazy. Like, just nuts. Woof. And then the awesome ending with the hobbling Ivelisse over there. Even though that was really weird that Cisco just couldn't go up a step. She had bit his hand so hard, I guess, that he was just left reaching. But aside from that, just great stuff all around here.
Yeah, I think this match is insanely fun. My favorite parts were the use of the broken window and the boards, as you already mentioned. And Angelico just seeming intent on trying to take 10 to 15 years off of his life to entertain a crowd of about 2,000 people on national television. The dude is a star, I think, waiting to shine. And this run with the Trios Championships, along with Havoc and Evilise, who do their fair parts in this too, but Angelico definitely the MVP of this match, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you guys both made great points about some of the spots in this match. I'm just going to say it was full of energy, lots of things going on that you got to watch. Sean told you, go check it out. I'm all second that motion. You need to go watch this match. It was so much fun to watch, and ladder matches usually are, but these guys did it in a different way, and they really put on a good show. But in the end, I think the fun thing and the most interesting thing is the fact that Evilise was the one that finally was able to save her team and pull the belts off. She had to climb the ladder on a hurt leg, broken her leg. And so this is an opportunity to showcase that she is willing to do anything for her tag team and make sure that they don't lose those belts. I thought that was very positive. I like that story. I thought it was very well done. So I had no problems with that. I was really thrilled with that finale. And, of course, you know, the way they ended it so dramatically did not hurt at all.
No, it did not. That's Lucha Underground.
All right, guys, it is time for us to go on and talk some ROH. Let's do that. Paul.
Yeah, so we got 2 episodes of ROH to review this week. The first one we're talking about was the show on the 16th. Which opens with Adam Page and ACH, who have been feuding due to Adam Page feeling like ACH can make it to the big matches and then not win them, and that is unfair. These guys go about 18, 19 minutes. It's a fantastic match. One of the first matches where I really felt like I enjoyed Adam Page's work. I think this was his launching pad almost. I think I mentioned also enjoying his match from night 2 of Global Wars, or not night 2, night 1 of Global Wars, excuse me. They get a cheap finish in here, which the crowd sort of seems to dump on, but the heat is on Adam Page, and that's what matters.
Gary?
I think, you know, me and Paul are very much agreeance on this match. You know, Page was a guy that I was still wanting to see more out of. You know, in the past, during this feud, really, he's been on the outside, you know, taking cheap shots where he can. Not much at it, but this time you get a chance to see him full on in the ring with him. And ACH, of course, is ready to take him on, ready to get down to business. You see Page kind of get out of the ring, get back in kind of thing, you know, kind of not ready right away. You know, he's kind of feeling out the situation. But when they get started, just a great match overall. I mean, I thought it was pretty well done. So, you know, not a bad way to get things going underway, especially for this show.
Not at all. They cap off the end match with ACH attacking Page and security and a bunch of wrestlers having to come out and break it up. So the losses are starting to get to ACH in a way that makes it much more entertaining, because now he wants to murder Adam Page, and I'm okay with that too.
I agree, and this is the thing, and of course, you know, the way ROH TV is, it's not all about some of these, you know, they don't do like Raw or, you know, even TNA where they come out and talk a lot, and I'm okay with that totally. But I love the fact that, you know, just in the back of your mind that ACH is fed up with it. He's tired of it not winning, and of course this feud's all about him not winning, so it makes you more excited about what happens next, and I think that's a positive thing.
Absolutely. We get some video packages that review the Knights of the Rising Dawn angle and all this other stuff. I think they also hype up the TV title match that we're going to talk about in this next episode. But our main event for this episode is the Briscoe brothers taking on War Machine, Hanson, and Ray Rowe. These guys pretty much go out there, 15 minutes, beat the living bejeebus out of each other. Just I really the finish to this is really good too. I think it's Jay hitting a Jay Driller and then Mark putting him away with a froggy elbow. Just great work back and forth. I think War Machine are really starting to come along as a great tag team, but the Briscoes are tag team wrestling when it comes to Ring of Honor.
Yes, I totally agree. And man, this was a war of the beasts. I mean, these guys were tearing it up. You can't say enough about both tag teams. I mean, really, really well done match. They both just have so much going for them. I'm a huge fan of War Machine. These guys are just great. And of course, how can you go wrong with the Briscoes? But it totally makes sense with the Briscoes going over. They, of course, with Jay being the champion and all of it makes complete sense. But in general, when you're looking at this match, you've got to just take it for what it is. And it's a very, very well done big man match. And they made everything count. That's what I loved about it, because there's plenty of opportunities for War Machine to be the ones going over here. But in the end, I mean, it just had to happen. So, I for me personally, it was a great tag team match.
Completely agree with you. They finished it off well. Briscoe standing tall and all that, and we cut out. Which leads us to our next episode, which happened this past Saturday on the 23rd. Another 2-match formula, which ROH has been doing really well with, I think. But we open with Elgin and Caprice Coleman. Maybe not the best match, because I felt like this was kind of squashy. But Elgin comes out looking strong, which I'm totally okay with.
Yeah, and Elgin, of course, doing his thing. Everybody knows Elgin. He, pretty much the formula that he's usually used to. But I mean, Coleman gave him, a run for his money. It definitely had some shots in there, and you just can tell that he's just not able to take down Elgin the way he wants to. Despite the hits that Elgin takes, he's so stiff in the ring. What I mean by stiff, I mean not in style, but as in unwilling to take too much from this guy, unwilling to just go down. And that was what's so interesting about this match in general. I just think that, it wasn't a bad way to start the show at all. At first, I thought it was going to be a squash. I even thought this was going to be a 3-match card for at least this episode. And it wasn't, really. I mean, they held in there, and Coleman got his stuff in, and he wasn't made to look bad. But overall, you could tell who the superstar was, and that's Elgin. And by the end of this, Elgin just finishes it off and basically stops playing around and gets things done. So, not a bad match.
Not at all, and especially when you look at what the main event is, with Jay Lethal defending his ROH World Television title against Kyle O'Reilly. In a match that when it starts, there's still over half the episode left, which tells you one thing, that it goes to a time limit draw, 30 minutes. Jay Lethal refuses to give Kyle O'Reilly an extra 5 minutes, which leads Jay Briscoe to come down and offers O'Reilly a world title shot right then and now, but Lethal decides to beat them both up. One, because he believes the world television title is the belt in Ring of Honor everybody should be fighting for. And 2, him and Briscoe have a match for both belts on the line at Best in the World coming up here in June. But this match sounds amazing.
It was a fun and just exciting match. And just to start off, before we really talk about the match, I mean, they of course had a promo before this with Truth Martini and, of course, Jay Lethal standing there, and they were going over their normal spill, but it was just their interactions with each other is so great, and talking about Riley and what he can expect, and of course you get Riley cutting a promo, and Sean, I know Paul doesn't know this guy, but what's so fun about this is I look at Riley and just really I never took the time to look at him, but he reminds me of a guy that we both know in common, and the guy's name is John Harris. It looks like he could be his kid, to me.
Yeah.
He does, don't he? And so it's just so interesting. But anyway, that was so cool to see both these guys get cut a promo, and then you get the match itself. And I'm telling you what, at the beginning of this, you're kind of thinking, okay, where are they going? Because it's okay really Riley's getting the best of Lethal, and Lethal's doing his normal shtick of I got to get out of the ring, got to reconfigure this thing, got to make my moves. And really, I mean, at first, I promise you guys, you think you're watching a match from before Roddy Piper's time, because they really got down, and it was all about the headlock, about, you know, getting that in, and Riley was really focusing on that. Sure, Lethal would break it, but Riley really would every chance to get it in, even on the outside of the ring, guys. He got it on the outside, too, wearing, you know, Lethal down, trying to really take him down energy-wise, trying to get him frustrated, and it did work to an extent, but not all the way. We do get the match starting to heat up after this, though, and it really gets going. They do a lot of different spots outside the ring and inside the ring, and I mean, Riley puts on everything, all his submission moves that he can do. He puts them all in. You really do think Lethal's going to tap several times, so you got some kind of near fall situations here. Honestly, I mean, by the end of this thing, you really feel like Lethal put in everything he could to be Riley, but he couldn't do it. And right when you think Lethal's going to tap out, the match actually ends. The time limit draw, ding, 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 there you go. So very old school. I like this ROH. I kind of dig this whole old school feel. At the same time, it happens at the worst time, and of course, like Paul said, you know, both guys have to agree on that extra time limit, usually about a minute, but the 5 minutes, you know, they were trying to agree on, and, you know, Lethal did not like the crowd's response. The crowd was chanting, you know, I'm trying to think offhand what they were chanting, but they were chanting over and over again, you know, and basically talking bad about Lethal, and Lethal didn't appreciate it. You know, I think they were saying 5 more minutes, and making comments towards Lethal. And he says, you know what, because you said that, nah, and starts to leave. But that's when you have Jay Briscoe coming out and offering, hey, you know what, I've just went through a big match, which he did. I mean, my God, that match with War Machine, hard-hitting, destructive. You know, he's all taped up. You can tell. He says, we're in the same shape. You went through a big match. Heck, I just got to have a huge match. We're on the same level here. Let's just do this thing. You deserve a shot at a title. I'll give you this title shot. We think it's going to happen. And, of course, guess what? Lethal messes it all up, hitting the guys with the title. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to say this is a match you got to watch. I think people, if you've not seen these guys work, you're going to love it if you get a chance to check it out. It has some old school elements if you're not used to it, but to me it adds things to it. And plus, when you're talking about the fact that Jay Lethal does the things he does in this match, I can't think of a guy right now in the wrestling business that isn't getting more heat and doing a good job of earning it. So that's pretty much what we get out of that.
I completely agree with you about Lethal. If he doesn't beat Jay Briscoe at Best in the World, it'll rank amongst one of the highest crimes against humanity that's ever occurred on this earth.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So that pretty much wraps up ROH. And, you know, like I said, the formula that Paul was talking about, the two matches, if they keep going the way they're going with these matches, I'm totally cool with it. I know they can't. It's going to be hard to keep up with that. But if they can do it on a semi-regular basis, I think all of us will be very, very happy with that. But now, guys, you know, once again, if you were expecting to listen to this show and hear some NXT talk, guess what? Once again, you need to go back and reverse, check our archives. We did all our NXT talk on a special on the TakeOver Unstoppable episode we did. It was a little extra. Go check it out. And, of course, no TNA this week. So that leaves us with one thing on the docket that we have left to review, and that is, of course, New Japan's Best of the Super Juniors. And Sean is going to take us down this road.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Alright, so this is weird doing this and Paul not being the one doing it. But, anyway, if you didn't get to, I did a podcast, a W2M Extra by myself, reviewing Night 1 and 2, because these guys have better things to do. So this is, we're talking Night 3 and Night 4. Night 4 just got added to New Japan World like 5 hours ago. They're waiting until about like noon Japan time, which is 11 p.m. Eastern our time, to upload the matches when they're on demand, because Japanese people are not morning people. They work usually around they start like around noon, so that's when they add things. Makes sense. Anyway, so the third night was in one of these smaller gymnasiums. It's not as small as the one that night 2 was held in. Night 3 was in the Nagata Swallow Citizen Gymnasium, which is it. The other one that they're in on night 4 is a lot bigger. You can tell it's sort of like more of a regular setup that they have, but this one kind of had them more packed in towards the ring. Both of them are hard camera, no commentary. It's really like having the feeling of being at a house show, you know, but you're getting that. You don't have to be there. You're getting that feeling of being there live, which is kind of cool about these things. So you get to hear the crowd a lot more. You get to hear them react to the entrances and stuff like that. Stuff that you don't hear a lot because, for one, you're hearing dub themes a lot of the times. And then number 2, the announcers talking over and everything. So we start off with Beretta. This is his second match. He lost the first match to, oh my god, why am I blanking right now? But I'll probably figure it out at some point. Chase Owens lost his first match to Barbaro Cavernario in a match that really wasn't that great, to be honest. But this one is much better. Chase Owens and Beretta work much, much better with each other. This is probably the best match, possibly, of the both nights, I think. They started off really strong here, just constant back and forth with each other. You have, like, a really awesome finishing sequence where, Chase Owens, they tease it first, and then Chase Owens does a package pile driver to freaking Beretta on the apron. And Beretta gets in at like 19, almost 20, and then Beretta does his normal comeback, which is super belly to belly with a sick kick. And then he hits, I forget what it's called, but it's the driver where he grabs his head. It's almost like an air raid siren, but he kind of more drives his head down. And Beretta gets his first 2 points. So there you go. There's that. I don't know if you guys want to comment or anything.
I've heard that Trent Beretta's match with Kyle O'Reilly was quite good too. Who I think is the person he lost to on the first night.
That match was pretty good, I have to agree. And Beretta's like slowly getting the crowd behind him every match he's in, which is, you know, good for him because, you know, Rocky's already got all the tradition of being there so long. And we were talking about, like, before how it seemed like the crowd wasn't responding to him, but he's slowly getting, you know, the crowd behind him. So that means they're appreciating his work, which is good.
Yeah.
Chase Owens still has 0 points. Poor guy.
Thank God.
So, Máscara Dorada against David Finlay, Fit Finlay's son. Fit Finlay was also in one of these competitions early on when it was first around, so that's pretty cool, you know, to have father and son be in the same competition many years later. You know what? David Finlay's coming out of the dojo, so, you know, he's going to do really basic stuff. His big move is like a running elbow and a big drop kick, and he gets to show off a little bit more against Dorada here because they're trying to, you know, get the crowd behind Dorada and all this stuff. Dorada does a freaking sick, like, over the ropes freaking dive that makes it look like effortless. You know, everybody else will go through the ropes. Dorada's so awesome, he can just go over the rope without touching it. Just, you know. He, you know, does his normal little rope walk, drop kick, and all that kind of stuff. He beats Finlay, but Finlay probably had his much better showing than the like pretty much squash he had against Shelley, which is the only match Shelley is going to have in this tournament because he has an avulsion fracture in his left foot, so he's done for the rest of the tournament. So everybody else is automatically going to get 2 points.
Yep.
So that kind of sucks, but at least Dorada has to actually put him away with the it's like the key crusher pretty much, instead of just doing the moonsault. So, trying to have Finley be strong here. He has a much stronger match against Kushida later.
I really haven't got a chance to see Finley. Does he look anywhere close to what his dad looks like? Just out of curiosity.
You know what? I don't remember a lot of Finley when he was younger, so he has his dad's like his facial structure sort of, and he has a lot of his dad like the uppercuts and he does the Finley roll, which that's like his finish right now. This is the Finley roll. And both times, both guys kick out of it, and he acts like, "Oh my God, the world just ended." He kicked out of my, my dad's move, which is, that's the way it should be. That's your finish, So I mean, he does have a little bit of his dad in him. You can tell.
Yeah, he just needs to go give him a little person. He'll be okay.
Let's not say. But Finley still has 0 points, as you would assume. Dorado has 4. Because of the Shelly 2 points. This is his first points of the tournament because he lost to Kushida in the first one, which was criminally cut short, but I have a feeling that means we're getting Dorado and Kushida again when they both come out of the block. But, I just cannot imagine that Geto doesn't get that people want to see this match, and they know they can have them have a much longer one, a much better one. I don't know. What do you think, Paul?
Well, I mean, they won't be able to meet in the finals, but maybe later on, assuming Kushida is the one to lift the title off of Omega, we'll get something between them. Hopefully before Dorado goes back to Mexico.
Yeah, let's hope so. And, talk about Mexico. The new theme for Dorado is terrible. They changed his theme, and his theme song that he had before was actually decent. They sort of made it more like a Japanese Mexican theme instead of the total Mexican theme he had before, and it's kind of weird. But next we have Tiger Mask and Bobby Fish, which is basically Bobby Fish working on the leg, which is kind of what he does. It changes when Bobby Fish roundhouses the steel pole on the outside, and then Tiger Mask kind of gets a lot of offense in. Bobby Fish does a couple suplexes. He gets a kick out of the Tiger Driver. And there was even a spot where Tiger, because they both have a hurt leg, Tiger Mask actually puts Bobby Fish in the leg lock. And, they make it really close, like, Fish is going to tap out, but Fish does his normal thing where, he does his Falcon Arrow and then, oh, you kicked out? Well, haha, I got you in the leg lock. He did it in the first match, the Rocky 2. And this time, though, Tiger Mask gets out, even though, again, they really make it seem like Tiger Mask is going to tap out. It looks like he's almost about to pass out on top of Bobby Fish a couple times, and then he does a crucifix spin and beats Bobby Fish. So Tiger Mask has 6 points because of the 2 points from Shelly. So there you go. Tiger Mask, unbeaten so far. Tiger Mask is the only guy not only to win the Best Super Juniors consecutively, he has 14 consecutive tournaments that he's participated in. That's crazy.
Obviously, this is the gimmick, not this particular iteration, right?
Yeah, well, Tiger Mask 4 has been around for four. He's been around since like 95 as Tiger Mask 4.
Right.
But, that was insane to me. I think he had 1 year where he withdrew, but looking back at it, he's been in 14 of these straight through.
Wow. We may be talking about a new wrestling streak.
Yes. Yeah, I guess. Or any comments from you guys? This was okay. I didn't think it was that great or anything, but
it's interesting that they're doing this with Tiger Mask because I figured that it would be Liger getting this kind of push. But I mean, I'm assuming they're trying to, because I believe Tiger Mask and Kushida have already wrestled, haven't? No, they haven't yet. So I assume they'll be the big ones going into the end of the tournament. Will be that big draw that you want to see these two finally wrestle.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, because they'll be the two that. Yeah, because Kushida hasn't lost either. So.
But Kushida technically has 6 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, didn't he? No,
He's
he lost to Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, he's lost to Nick, but
that was
he
the
has
one that I was thinking
6
like,
for,
whoa, Nick won? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which was weird. They hadn't come out with Cody Hall at first, and then he didn't come out with anybody else afterwards. I guess they're trying to really make it seem like he's doing this by himself, which is totally fine. That needs to happen. He doesn't come out with Bullet Club music either, because he's by himself, so nice touch on that. Liger has the last match of the night with Kyle O'Reilly. This is really good. Liger basically tries to out-submission O'Reilly to start. Like, he puts him in all the different surfboards that we know Liger does. The seated surfboard, the Mexican surfboard, then he turns it into the Dragon Sleeper thing, and O'Reilly has to basically like run away and freaking drop kick him in the face so he can stop submitting him constantly. Then, O'Reilly does what he does, which is, working on the arm. He puts him in the armbar, which kind of starts letting him do the whole working on the arm thing. Liger does a tope con hilo to the, from the top rope into the inside. They have a really nice, like, exchange where, like, Liger does the Liger bomb, but O'Reilly flips him over and turns it into a pin. Just really cool stuff towards the end. And, of course, O'Reilly makes him tap out with the armbar. But O'Reilly's going to be one of the front runners here, so it makes total sense. But a really good match, I thought.
I mean, I'm glad that Liger is finding some new blood to wrestle, and especially with the crazy amount of influx of Gaijins that New Japan has right now. Liger's still able to go with these guys over here too.
And Liger brought it with the match against Komatsu on night 1 too. So he's continuing to show when it comes to these singles matches, he's up for them.
Mm.
Any thoughts, Sergey?
You just, think about the fact that this is probably why Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan wish they could still wrestle. They're like, no, it's not fair. He gets to do it, and he's still doing it, and, but.
Yeah.
Jealousy.
If only they had kept themselves in good shape, right?
Exactly. See, they just need to go to Japan and learn how to do that. Take care of your body.
So that does it for night 3. O'Reilly now, I think, has 4 points, and Liger has 2. So that's how that stands. Moving on to night 4, they are in the Yamagata City General Sports Center second gymnasium. That's a mouthful, but it's one of these places that has apparently like it's a sports center, obviously, so they have different gymnasiums, and they're in the second. It's actually kind of cool because the projector is stuck in the middle of the floor of where the ramp is, so they have to walk around the projector to go get into the ring. And the camera is set up with a bird's eye view instead of a straight on view, which is also a different, look for something. So, Gary, you're the big production person. You watching this, you would probably be like, man, this is not production I'm used to when I'm watching a wrestling show. But it's just, it's kind of cool because you don't see it from that kind of view when you go to like a WWE house show, but to like watch it live on a screen from that perspective, I still think it's like a really cool thing.
So they changed angles. How many angles do they actually have?
No, it's just one angle. It's basically a hard camera that's the only perspective you get is this hard camera from a bird's eye view of watching everything. It's like if you were sitting in the stands, basically.
Okay, so yeah, I get you, and that's not too bad, honestly. I mean, I think it's kind of neat because it kind of takes you back to the old school and all that. It makes you kind of feel like you're watching something from back in the day. But then again, it is kind of like, this is supposed to be kind of a big thing. Why don't they have more to it? But, I still think it's fine.
I should also know, Gary, that Jushin Thunder Liger has been in 24 of these tournaments.
Wow. And is that in a row?
Not in a row. Kushida's the only other one. He's been in 6 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But God, I think that's like he's only missed 2.
Wow.
Out of the entire that they've had these.
Wow. That is nuts. But it just goes to show you his greatness.
Well, considering of greatness, Gedo, who's been in 9 of these, is wrestling his third match here, or is it 4th? It's 3rd, but I'll tell you what, Gedo has been like the guy to watch in this tournament. He has been so awesome. Like, we talk about Kevin Owens being like a heel. Gedo is like the old school heel that just, he does all of the old school shit that you loved watching like back in the 70s and 80s. Just, he will eye rake the shit out of you. He will just choke you right there in front of the referee. He will tell Yohei Komatsu to come on, you motherfucker, in English. Like, just, it's awesome. Just, he's so just great. And this entire, he's wrestling like Barbaro Cavernario here. So he's like, he waits till the referee's not looking at all, messing around with counting for Cavernario. So he goes into the corner and takes the turnbuckle cover off. And then he throws Cavernario into the turnbuckle, the exposed turnbuckle 3 or 4 times. Just because he can. And then he goes and chokes him right in front of the referee, and the referee's like, hey man, and he's backing away hey, not me, I'm not doing it. Just awesome stuff. He has Cavernario come out behind him, and then he just keeps smashing his head into the barricade and the announce table and other stuff that's there. Just awesome stuff from him. And eventually, he obviously eats the turnbuckle too, because if you're the one that takes it off, eventually you're gonna have to deal with eating it. He does a thing where he tosses Cavernario into the pole. He freaking he uses the ref as a way to counter a move. So Cavernario's trying to kick him, so he pushes Cavernario's foot onto the referee and then super kicks him in the face. Just awesome stuff. Just awesome stuff. And just when you think Ghetto's gonna win, he does the Gedo clutch, and then Cavernario switches it to the La Cavernario, which is a seated surfboard, and Gedo taps out for his first loss. So he's won the last 2, or his first 2, and he lost his first real competition or whatever. So I mean, we talk about Taguchi. I think we all would have loved the match with Taguchi, because he knows people don't like Taguchi's offense most of the time. So before Taguchi can even do anything, he just super kicks him. And then the bell still rings because he's Gedo. And he doesn't let him do anything for the first 8 minutes of the match, just so that we don't have to deal with his butt offense. Just awesome. Thank you, Gedo, for your awesomeness. Anyway, this was a really good match, again, to start off a night. So, any thoughts?
Gedo getting actually just the way Block A sort of sits at the end of this night is interesting to me, which I'll talk about later. But it's good to know Geto's pulling some weight here and bringing some entertainment.
Gary?
Same. I just, I like to hear all these old school tactics being used in a match. I mean, it's been way too long. I love the eye clawing and all this other great stuff. It's to me lost, and I wish, we get to see more of it.
Yeah, I mean, he plays it off for comedy too, because he knows that in the match with Taguchi, the crowd just constantly chants for him, no matter how many times he does something really bad. Just no matter what, they just keep chanting for him. It's just great. At least Cavernario does some flying stuff, and he does. Cavernario does this thing where he does the worm, and then he'll either do a drop kick or he'll do something like a double stomp or something, and if it gets the crowd into it. But With Komatsu, he does everything he can so that the crowd chants for Komatsu. Just, it's really good stuff because it's like stuff heels would always do to make sure that you're chanting for the guy you're supposed to. But it was just funny with Taguchi because it's just kind of like, awesome. I don't want to be cheering for you. So we move on to Kushida against Finlay. Basically, Kushida just dominates Finlay. Like, they wrestle, like, legit just wrestle for a little while, and then they do a test of strength, and they do all this, like, really basic way to start out matches, and we do get to see Finlay do a couple more. He does Kushida tries to do the handspring elbow, and Finlay catches him and does a deadlift German, which was awesome. They do some pin counters, and eventually Kushida has to turn him around a couple of times, but he finally gets the Kimura on him to make Finlay tap out. But I thought Finlay had his first match where he looked really good here. Any thoughts?
Not really. This sounds sort of how I expected the Young Lions stuff to go. Is kind of squashy, but still letting them sort of have their time to shine. I'm interested in general about Finlay. Like, I want to see what he does.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, but just because I like to see the young guys, especially the ones that have had fathers in the industry, I just want to see how they live up to that.
I'm glad that he's getting like show more each match that he's in. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. So
we keep on with I think the longest match that they've had in these on-demand ones. That's the thing I appreciate about this. You know, they only put the Best Super Junior matches on demand. They don't put the whole show, which makes sense, I think, because they don't want people also. For one, I think they only promise Best Super Juniors on New Japan World. I think they also show these on TV on TV Asai over there, or Asai. I don't know exactly how you would say it over there, but. So they don't want the whole card being exposed to New Japan World. I also think it's a way to kind of protect the bigger guys, so you don't totally get burned out on all the tag matches and everything before you get to, the shows that are meant for that kind of thing. So, and it's just meant to showcase what the tournament's supposed to be. But it was kind of weird for me at first because I was expecting, okay, I got to watch this whole entire thing, and it's just 3 matches, and I was like, huh? Okay. So now I get it. They're only putting those on there, but that's fine. At least they're doing that. You don't have to go search all over the internet for them. So Block B, we have Rocky Romero, Nick Jackson. These are basically the comedy kings, so you can imagine that what we're starting this out with, right? Lots of Nick Jackson doing "Suck It" and. Just like that too. Second, and Rocky Romero just, so Nick Jackson is just saying stuff in English, right? And so, to counter the suck it thing, Rocky's like, Bakadinayo, which is like, you're an idiot in Japanese. And of course all the Japanese people laugh, but, he's sitting there like shocked to no end that I don't know what you said, but whatever. So, they do this thing where Rocky is kind of dominating him first, and he does the Spider-Man thing, so Nick goes outside, and he gets mad, and he acts like he's going to leave. And, of course, Rocky follows him out, and he super kicks him way at the other end of the frickin' deal. And so then Nick just starts running all the way to the ring. It's funny, because then all of a sudden... A little bit later, Rocky comes running, and he's, like, stumbling everywhere, and just looks like he's barely not going to make it, but basically at the count of 20, he barely makes it in the ring. They have more comedy stuff later, obviously, but this is really good. Rocky, like, curb stomps Nick Jackson on the apron. Looked kind of nasty. Just tons of, obviously, super kick everywhere, super kick. There's a part where... He does the super kick, and Rocky no-sells it to give him a big knee, and they both stay down for a little bit, and Rocky actually winds up, I think, if I'm right. Rocky winds up winning with the... It's like a Michinoku driver, but he drops him on his head instead. So it was a really, really good back and forth match with lots of counters and near falls and stuff like that. So what you would expect from a Young Bucks match there.
Yep.
Yeah, just a bunch of suckets, right? That's pretty much what they are, huh?
It's the funny thing is too, like Rocky acts like, you know, every time they're about to do something and like Nick does the suck it, Rocky acts like, damn it, I fell for that one again. Like, I should have known he's gonna do this, you know. So the final match is Beretta against Ryusuke Taguchi. Oh boy, Taguchi. What do I say about this guy? You know what was so awesome about this is, once again, I don't know if this is Ghetto or it's just Beretta. He let Beretta kind of do his own thing here, but Beretta calls him out on the butt thing. He says, "You're not hitting me with that butt," in English. He says, "This is wrestling. If you want to hit me with a butt, go somewhere else." Like, it's awesome. Awesome comedy stuff. So, like, Beretta just runs around the ring so he won't hit him with the butt and everything. It's just, oh man, I was having a field day with that one. Beretta just constantly is trying to, you know, keep the offense up so that Taguchi can't do anything. He does it for a while, but eventually, you know, Taguchi has to, and literally, like, they couldn't have done this, like, even more just... If you do not like Taguchi using his butt, this is not the match to watch. Because literally, he does everything in his arsenal of butt offense you can think of. He does do the Dodon, but he, like, Beretta botches it. He puts his knees up instead of falling straight on his face. And Beretta does his, you know, belly-to-belly and kick thing, and he misses. But he did this against Cavernario, too, and it kind of really upsets me. Like, how do you win with a... I mean, like, the Dodon actually kind of looks cool or whatever. And he also does the ankle lock, which, when he puts it in and he, like, lays down on it, it looks sort of like where it really hurts. But, like, how do you win with... You basically slide your butt into somebody's face. Like, literally, he slides his butt into the guy's face, and that's it. He wins. Like, that would just completely... That just totally ruins the match for me. I don't know, but it just... you know... I don't know.
The plague. It's like a plague of butt offense.
It's like Mojo Rawley came back.
No, it's worse than Mojo Rawley, Gary. It's really worse.
Oh, man.
But that's it. But God, what a horrible way to leave it just rotten taste in your mouth.
I get it.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, besides that, it sounds like the rest of it was pretty interesting and a lot of fun. So, definitely thank you, Sean, for covering that all. And, of course, Sean, just told you, you know, go check out those articles he's been writing on New Japan. Lots of good stuff, and you definitely need to go read it. You know, he's been working hard on it, and I know it's all good reads. So, we'll let him plug it again once we get to that part of the show. But before we do all that fun stuff, we need to do something we'd like to do at the end of every show, and that's crown a Superstar of the Week, guys. So let's go ahead and do it. Who did we pick as the big Superstars of the Week, and who we crown? Well, we're going to tell you now.
My bad. I forgot I had it all the way, the volume down, and I was like, okay, this is playing. Why is it not doing anything?
Technical difficulties. That's okay. All right, guys. Well, we got to figure out who we got. So, Paul, you're up.
Number 5, I have Dean Ambrose, who, despite a weak episode of Raw, was one of the shining stars of that show. Mostly just because of his hilarity, but still some good work in there. 4 goes to Jay Lethal. Great work, as usual, on Ring of Honor. 3 goes to Kushida, who I think probably one of the better wrestlers. Not to mention just great matches overall, as far as I can tell, in Best of the Super Juniors. Number 2 goes to Becky Lynch, and number 1 goes to Sasha Banks. Their match, pretty much match of the year candidate from the previous TakeOver special, was just all kinds of awesome.
Awesome. All right. So, Sean, now what do you got?
Oh man, this is hard because there's a lot of stuff in here. Oof. So I'm gonna say Jay Lethal at number 5. Kevin Owens at number 4. Ghetto at 3. 2 is Becky Lynch, and number 1 is Sasha Banks.
Awesome. Not a bad list at all. Looking at this whole thing, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to pick as well. And, it's kind of hard. There's some picks in here you kind of think, well, did I put them in the right place or not? But I kind of narrowed it down, and I think I got what I want out of this whole thing. Number 5 for me has to go to Kevin Owens. Not only did he, keep his NXT title, despite the fact that, some people don't really think he had a match to win it or retain it. He's still done some great things, even against Cena, so I've got to give it to him there. 4 is Dean Ambrose. Kind of like Paul said, not a great episode of Raw, but Dean Ambrose continues to roll on and looking good at doing it. Number 3 has to go to Jay Lethal. Wow, what a way to retain his belt. Yeah, it was a time limit draw, but he made it that far, so you got to give him credit for that. My number 2 has to go to Ivelisse. I know really, the only thing she did was get on the ladder and get the belts, but hey, it was the most important thing to do. Plus, she was injured. You got to give her all the credit in the world for that. So, yeah, she definitely deserves that number 2 spot for me personally. And my number 1 has to go to Sasha Banks. Now, an honorable mention has to go to Becky Lynch. Without her, that match isn't as good either, but, Sasha Banks won the title, so she kind of gets the A grade here for me at number 1. So it looks like this week Sasha Banks is our superstar of the week. Congratulations to her. What a fantastic match. We love talking about it. And of course, like I said before, I've said a couple times actually, if you want to hear us talk more in depth about that match and more of the NXT stuff, go check out our episode we did last Sunday night. It was a blast. It was NXT Unstoppable, and we were having a fun time talking about all the different matches that happened in NXT. And, of course, Samoa Joe. We got that conversation going in there as well. So, a lot of great stuff in there. Now, this Sunday night, we have another big extra, which will be, of course, the Elimination Chamber. We are excited about talking about those matches, and if you want to hear us talk about them, that's the only place you're going to hear us talk in depth about the Elimination Chamber. Next Tuesday is just going to be a show about basically Raw, NXT, TNA, ROH, and of course Lucha Underground. That is going to be our normal stuff, but if you want to hear us talk in depth about the Elimination Chamber, don't forget to come join us Sunday night for that show. And of course, next Tuesday's show will be a lot of fun as well. But man, what else do we have going on, Sean, in your plugs?
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know. I'm going to try to work on getting a review of nights 3 and 4 written so I can have it up on Last Word on Sports, just like I did for nights 1 and 2. I might just wait till, since night 5 is tomorrow night too, and just have them all together on Thursday since they take another break on Thursday. We'll also have whatever the next amount of days is until Sunday for that Best Super Juniors. We'll do that too with Elimination Chamber. And also just you can also rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. That helps us out a lot. If you really enjoy the show and you want more people to fill out the Facebook group, if you want more people to be able to know the show and listen to it and enjoy it like you do, you got to rate and review so that more people know about it, because that's how it gets seen by other people. and it gets higher up in rankings and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it would be appreciated. You obviously don't have to, but do what you feel like, you know, give the rating you feel is necessary. So, that being said, you know, if for some reason you listen to the show through one of the websites, you know, 411 or Page 2 or Last Word on Sports or whatever, you know, or the Last Word Radio, iTunes or Stitcher or whatever, we do have our own iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn and Player FM and Blueberry that you can find us in those places. You can find us in plenty of other places that have podcasts. So, you know, if you don't want to have to sit there and just have a player on your computer, we are available on your phone or wherever else, your tablet or blah, 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 you know. So, like I said, you can follow us on Twitter, too, at Wrestling2Max. There's also that Facebook group that I mentioned. You know, if you want to go in there, not everybody that's in there listens to the podcast, but just people that, we have some awesome people in there you can just discuss wrestling with. I mean, so we also had that pay-per-view contest that's going to keep going with Elimination Chamber. Sorry, I had to plug in my charger. It was like beeping at me. And we did what was it? The NXT specials are also going to be on that contest too. So if you like to watch those NXT specials and don't necessarily maybe care about the pay-per-views that much, we cover those in there too. And of course for the other shows, sometime tomorrow we'll be doing another Crawford multiplayer. So if you're a video game fan, the official 4-1 Game Zone podcast will have you covered for that. Our Football to Football will return on Thursday. We did the top 10 most popular sports in America. I thought we did a pretty good job with that. We'll obviously be having more FIFA talk as the FIFA officials got arrested for corruption today, Gary.
No, I had a moment of silence.
That story we talked about.
Yeah, I definitely
now happened.
I had a moment of silence for those heroes in that those officials that are such heroic, and it's so sad they got arrested. Of course, I'm just kidding. That's great news, and I can't wait to talk about it when we do that show.
And the three of us get to have fun, just like Gary did this a couple years ago. There's another Under-20 World Cup that starts on Friday night at midnight with the United States playing in the first game. Gary gets to have fun with flags, as Sheldon would say, to pick who he thinks is going to win that tournament. And I'm going to be on equal playing with you because I don't pay attention that much to the Under-20 stuff. Just thought it would be something fun the three of us could do.
Sure.
So, you know. And, yeah, just make sure you check out that Raw reaction with Harry and Tony and Jimmy Christopher. Steven Randall's going to have his TWE After Dark on Thursday night instead of normally it's like an hour for us. You know, Randy and Wes have a new Backlot Busting project, so if you want to hear them talk about old games, that's there. There's plenty of other stuff. I don't think that Fonte's done a new deal in a while. So
yeah, I don't think so either. If he does, he needs to definitely let us know because we would love to plug it. He does a great show. So, but yeah, you're right, Sean. There's a lot of content for everybody to listen to, and we are partnered with some great guys. So excited about getting a chance to talk to Chris Limsky on this show. It's been a little bit since we've heard from him. He is on set, and of course he was busy, so he didn't get to stay on the entire show or anything. But it is always a treat to hear from him. And plus, like I said, you never know who's going to drop by when we do that Sunday night special. There could be anybody. Hey, it wouldn't surprise me if we didn't get a return visit from the guys from the Raw reaction or even Wrestling Unwrapped. So. Really looking forward to talking about that big show this weekend, and of course we want you guys to know thank you so much for listening. We love having you guys come and join us talking wrestling. It's a blast. Without you, we wouldn't do this. And it's there's something else I'd like to say too is a special thank you to Sean. Sean has been working his butt off and producing this show. He's done a lot of things behind the scenes, spending a lot of time. Not only that, he's writing shows and doing things like that. So. A special thank you to him for all that he's done for the show. And, of course, we want you guys to always remember, if you're not living life to the max.
Not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
Later.